Hello. Am I still gonna get an encoding error? I think I'm still a bit jittery, innit? It's lagging, it's frozen, probably still now. Yeah, oh my god. It's not gonna happen for me today. Yeah, still lagging, aren't we? We're still fucking lagging. Oh well. I did try my best, and my best just wasn't enough, unfortunately. It's just not having it. It's just not having it, unfortunately. Yeah, what can you do? It's just not having it. It really isn't having it. Encoding errors all over the place. Encoding errors all over the place. Nothing has changed since I fucking last time. It didn't have it. Damn it, that. I don't know why, I don't know what's going on, don't know why it's wrong. It's something weird. Something very, very weird is happening. If I've set my back, is it okay now? It's all in. Makes sense. It's been I literally just set this line and it crazy. How does any sense? How does this make any sense? Coding overload, encoding overload, encoding fucking overload. Again, let's see if I'm going to take off the camera. Does the camera help if I take off the camera? What does happen there? I just still going to be encoding overload. Let's see. Let's see if I disconnect the camera, if that fucking helps. Because Jesus Christ, maybe it's just be an audio only pod, and then you'll watch the videos, but it'll be audio only, obviously, for the rest of the thing. Maybe that works. Yeah, let's just do that for now. Maybe that actually might work. A bit wild, but we'll do this for now. Fuck it, let's just run with this. So if you guys can hear me loud and clear? Hopefully you can hear me in the stream. Hopefully you can hear me on the fucking stream. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me on the blood clot stream. We're just gonna go with this. We're gonna make it audio only today, no video, because video keeps me lagging and shit. So hopefully that works, right? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? 1 2 1 2, mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2, mic check 1 2. I don't know why the audio is a bit low as well. Are we low? Are we high? Are we low? Are we high? Are we low? Can you hear me? My levels are quite low here. Sounds like I'm speaking Turkish, really. Sounds like I'm speaking Turkish. Is that like a, are you taking a piss? Are you lying? What are you saying here? It worked, right? So am I back? Can you hear me now? Is it good? We can hear you. But am I loud though? Yeah, I'm loud. Okay, now I'm loud. Cool. There we go. Now I'm back and kicking. Cool. All right, let's go. Let's fucking go. Let's just do it like this, right? Let's just do it like this. This is a bit wild. It's a bit next level, but let's just do it like this. Let's just do it like this and let's just get started. All right, guys. Random show settings. Apologies for the delay. You know how it goes. But we're back kicking, ready to fucking do the thing. No camera today because, you know, my computer's going a bit weird. But we're here. We're going. So let's flipping ride it. Let's ride it until the flipping wheels fall off. Forget everything else. It doesn't matter. We're going to keep riding it. But if you're wondering why this always seems to happen to me, this is the reason why. This is the reason why.
Hey, niggers!
Yeah, she's on drugs or something.
No, I just hate niggers. Fuck you, nigger!
I'm sure some of you guys in the stream chat want to say the same thing, so I'm going to let this woman say it on your behalf. For all you guys in the stream chat who are upset and disappointed that I didn't start on time and it's been laggy because my computer's shit, this is the reason why.
Oh, lady, take a break.
I hate niggers!
It's okay, we're calling the cops on you
I would
because you're disturbing
kill
everyone in
a
here.
nigger, but the law says I can't kill the niggers. If the law didn't say that I couldn't kill the niggers, they'd all be dead. Here's my license plate number. Nigger, 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 nigger.
So for all you guys in the stream chat that are upset I didn't start on time, I will let her say it for you one more time.
Nigger, 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 nigger.
we go. Okay, we're back. There we go. Nigger, 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 nigger. Okay. Thank you for those of you who still stuck by me. Apologies again for the delay. You know how it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. AZ, you can pick your new laptop now. Exactly, Uche. I feel you. I feel you. Apologies for those of you, Uche included, who is always disappointed when I use these racial tropes as part of my humor. I do apologize, but you know, I am English, I am British at heart, and unfortunately, the way we approach race issues isn't the same. I just find it super funny when people do that sort of stuff. I swear to God, I don't think I've ever reacted angrily when someone has called me the N-word. I swear to God. Let's sing. I got a Chromebook. Kyla, you're a piece of shit. Kyla's saying I'm streaming from a Chromebook. That's why it keeps dying. Oh, that's so funny. Imagine I was trying to stream from a Chromebook. All trying to do it in one browser. Oh my God, bro. Oh, that is so funny. But big up Koila, you're a fucking G. Let's move on to the fucking topics. Big up everybody in stream chat. I appreciate all of you that are hanging in there, that's still here with me. Apologies again for the delay. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna try to get this thing right, but for now, let's just carry on and let's just truck on like nothing ever happened. But there's no camera today because guess what? I'm an idiot. Let's continue. So I'm sure most of you know Wagwan with P. Diddy. Unfortunately, man got arrested. Unfortunately for the didster. Unfortunately for the big didster, right? He got flipping. His house, no, he arrested. His house got raided. I'm sorry, I'll rephrase. Diddy's house got raided in LA. His other house in Miami also got raided. And unfortunately for his sons, Christian and Justin, they were both at home while this was happening. So they both got put in cuffs. I'm sure it's just like precaution because they were raiding the home. So they have to make sure the people that were in there are kind of like subdued or whatever, right? Or, you know, put away so they can kind of do all their sort of raiding and whatnot. But it's a pretty wild situation, isn't it? So let's read the original article and kind of get through what's actually happened here. If we scroll down to the bottom, and then I think we can scroll up, right? Let's see what was going on here. What's the update? Yeah, there we go. No, let's just read the whole thing. Doesn't matter. So update: the scene at Diddy's Los Angeles home appears to be winding down. A new photo obtained by TMZ just shows bustling as a law authority. Was that law enforcement activity? You see, obviously the cops there in the street. All of them in their uniforms and shit, bulletproof vests, guns drawn and shit. Check out this picture which shows scores of agents, officers on the ground. Safe to say they went in and locked and loaded. Time will tell what, if anything, they found. Another one says TMZ's obtained extra footage of the cops on the scene near D's LA home, and it looks like the officers have shut down the entire area with helicopters swarming above and at least 2 choppers. Absolutely crazy. A rep for Homeland Security Investigation says earlier today, Homeland Security Investigation, HSI New York, executed law enforcement action as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance of HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners. Will provide formal information when it becomes available. Law enforcement sources told TMZ this case is being handled out of Southern District of New York. Reports say that it appears to be tied to sex trafficking allegations. That's heavy, isn't it? Your dad's house where you live getting raided because your dad's been accused of sex trafficking is a bit nuts, isn't it? I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit nuts. It's a bit fucking nuts, which has been levied against Diddy in recent months from different plaintiffs. So obviously you've got you've got Christian Combs there, King, and then you've got obviously Justin over there as well, which is a precaution. I'm sure the guy here in the hat, probably security, I'm assuming, which is quite wild. It means that they have security like all day, every day around, just like in their home. Fucking insane. But the crazy thing about it is that for King Combs, this is just like an extra thing on the side. It's his girlfriend Raven Tracy used to go out with Ian Connor, and Ian Connor, if you know him from the streetwear world, has been accused of dozens of like sexual assaults and rapes and shit. So she leaves Ian Connor and then hooks up with King Combs, and then King Combs' dad ends up getting done for sex trafficking. You know what I mean? Raven Tracy's unfortunately got a very bad luck when it comes to picking up boyfriends. Obviously he's got nothing to do with it. I don't think so. I think the only person that was mentioned in the documents was the other kid. What's his name again? What's his flipping name again? Quincy. I think Quincy was the only other kid that was mentioned in the documents. I think he was mentioned in the document that was obtained by the documents where the person that sued Diddy was a producer who was meant to be working on that Love album, who didn't get paid. And I think he mentioned something about being in the same room as Diddy, doing certain stuff, blah, 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 blah. So I think the kids will be okay, except for Quincy, to be fair. But yeah, crazy situation. And it says, Fox 11 has posted a video that appears to show several individuals in handcuffs in the property, and a couple of them appear to be Justin, Diddy's sons, Justin and King Combs. TMZ obtained the additional footage that shows federal agents running up to Diddy's water. The video shows armed agents standing on a boat, and they appear to be armed. The fact that they have to, that's quite a flex though, isn't it? Diddy's got that long money. They have to pull up to his house in a boat. The police have to pull up to his house in a boat. That shows you that this guy is like, he's really with it. You know what I mean? Really, really flipping with it. So, big up Diddy, I guess, in that regard. Let's continue on here. We've also got another one that says law enforcement sources tell that the agents of Homeland Security in the middle of the law enforcement property, there are helicopters overhead, and law enforcement is also present, although we're told Homeland Security is lead agency. The law enforcement officers walking around the house, the guns drawn, and there are people being questioned in front of the house. Law enforcement sources tell TMZ his home in East Coast is also being raided. And then there's a small update on that. They actually said his plane was tracked. Somebody was able to track. Oh, big up Assad. Appreciate you, brother.
Bro, if Diddy starts singing to get a deal, the entire rap industry is going down.
Oh yeah, for sure. Some person, some woman who's like a psychic, who's been getting everything right in terms of the timings and the dates of when he's gonna get arrested. The psychic lady said something like she had a vision that his mouth was getting sewn up and that he wasn't going to speak. So I was thinking, imagine if she's right and it ends up being like, have you guys seen those videos? I know Uche has, of those Nigerian politicians who get taken to court. They're like Nigerian politicians. They're sometimes fucking businessmen. They get charged with fraud and shit, and they have a tendency to start fainting. Let me see if I can see it. Let's see if I can do it, if I can see what I mean. Nigerian was it like, let's say, fraud, faints, court, right? There's loads of videos, yeah, exactly. There's loads of videos of it, right? Of these guys who go, yeah, exactly, there we go. The famous one is this guy here at the top. I'm sure some of you guys have seen this video. So Nigerian guys have this tendency when they go to court and have to, or when they have to face, you know, the music for their crimes, they'll turn up and start like pretending they're having a heart attack or whatever, right? It happens all the time. I wonder if Diddy will do the same thing. Because that woman said she pictures Diddy's mouth being sewn up. I wonder if she's going to do the same thing. I wonder if this woman will end up... Sorry, this woman. So I wonder if Diddy will end up doing something where like he pretends to have a stroke. Or he does like that kid or that guy in the fucking... The guy in the YSL case. There's a guy in the YSL case that kind of pretended he had some sort of seizure. Is it like a YSL defendant... Is it defendant? I don't know. Was it fakes seizure? Is it a seizure? I'm not sure if it's just seizure, but he faked something. He acted like, yeah, that's the kid. You remember this kid? This kid in the YSL case. He basically he started to fake that he was retarded. Whoops, regarded. That's what I meant to say. He was regarded, right? And something happened to him, and I think he got the cases dropped or something along those kind of. So I wonder if Diddy's gonna do the same thing. I wonder if Diddy will end up, you know, acting crazy. That's the thing. I didn't meant to say the other word. I meant to say regarded. I wonder if he was gonna do the same thing. Maybe Diddy will do that and plead the fifth, or he might take everyone down. Who knows? Let's quickly read this article. It says Diddy's home was raided in the US to kick off the week, but the guy's own private jet is miles away in a completely different nation. Of course, his, you know, Diddy's sons are getting like put in handcuffs in their mansion, and Daddy's nowhere to be found. He just fucking jetted. Like, you've got to fucking save your own skin. You can't be thinking about your sons. Like, nah, forget all that shit. I'm saving my own fucking bacon. You kids can figure it out on your own. I fucking spent all this time making money, supporting your life, supporting your dreams. You know what I mean? I did everything for you. Now you can do something for me. Sit down, You know what I mean? Shut your mouth and do the fucking time. TMZ tracked Diddy's personal. Oh, his actual plane is called Love Air. Yo, this guy's nuts, bro. Diddy is fucking insane. Love Air LLC jet, the well-known black Gulfstream 5 that Diddy has flaunted and flown for years now. So he's had this plane for a while. He's got long money in it. Diddy pulling up in his plane topless with his belly out. Absolutely insane, man. The well-known black Gulfstream 5 Diddy flown for ages now, and it looks like the aircraft is currently on the ground in Antigua, which is down in the Caribbean. Diddy went to the Caribbean to get away from the fucking crimes. He's probably gonna go there to get a connecting flight and link up with fucking what's his face, Russell Simmons in Bali. I bet you that's what he wants to do. Diddy wants to link up with Russell Simmons. So it continues. Based on the flight activity viewed by TMZ, Diddy's jet has been up and down the California between Sunday and Monday, taking off at Sacramento Executive Airport Sunday evening around 5:30 p.m. and landing at Palm Springs. An hour after that, around 7:30 p.m., Diddy's jet took off from Palm Springs yet again and landed in Van Nuys Airport, which is in LA area. About 30 minutes later, around 8 p.m., around 9 a.m. Monday, the jet took off from Van Nuys Airport and landed at the same point in Antigua. I always assumed when they did raids, they did them way earlier than 9 a.m. Maybe he got a heads up. Maybe Diddy's got an informant in the police office, because usually when they do raids like this, they usually come like super early, like 6 a.m., 5 a.m. to kind of catch you off guard, innit? Yo, big up Theodore.
And that black private jet is sinister.
Proper sinister. Proper sinister. It almost looks like what's that jet in fucking is it like a Black Hawk? What's that jet? Is it a Black Hawk? I forgot what it's called. Black Hawk jet? Is it what it's called? That one that's meant to be stealth. The one that's like anti-stealth. Yeah, there we go. That's the one, isn't it? This stealth, this it kind of looks like this. Like being all black, right? This, what's it called? The Lockheed F-117. This jet is fucking beautiful, right? This one is kind of like meant to be like, you know, anti-fucking, you know, sonar and shit, radar. That's kind of how it looks. It looks fucking sinister. Like what Theodore said, it looks absolutely mad. All in all black, right? Diddy's. Let's actually take a look at it. Was that Love Air LLC? What does it look like? Diddy. Yeah, okay. It's a pretty nice jet, to be fair. Diddy's Gulfstream, right? It's a pretty decent jet. Let's not lie. Diddy Gulfstream. Is that how you spell it? Gulfstream jet. Yeah, it's a pretty nice one. It's pretty fucking tasty. That's a big fucking jet for one guy. It's not Drake Air, don't get me wrong, but it's still this is a jet that he's owned as well. Because I don't think the Drake one he owns. I think it seems like some sort of collab or something, you know, with like some sort of deal he's probably getting it, I'd assume. If he does own it, fair play. But this Diddy jet, he probably does own this. He probably fucking, like, this he paid for with his own money. And I guess that might be the same jet, he just probably got it painted a different color. But it's fucking hard, though, isn't it? Big up NJ Ranger, appreciate it, brother.
You think he's gonna pull an Uncle June? Acts to Nad to try to get out of it? Also, in retrospect, are we feeling that this dumbass brother love arc equals trying to get ahead of the allegations? Many people saying this to Illuminati.
Of course, man. We all know that's true. We all know he's getting in front of the allegations. I think anybody that's someone of his age, you know, constantly doing these reinvention persona things, it's always a bit sus anyway, especially when he's not like a legit artist, right? He's a producer, but there's no need to have all these like different public facing personas when you just like if anything, he's like a glorified record producer, really, in some respects, or like a record executive. But obviously he dabbled his hands in kind of producing and management and A&R and all this other stuff kind of included, but he's not like a front facing artist. He doesn't really need to have all these different personas. The fact that he does do them, and he goes so hard to try to convince people, because there was a time when he was really going hard at trying to make people call him Brother Love. Do you remember? There was a time when he was really pushing, like, bro, we're not gonna call you Love, man. We're just about we're okay with calling you fucking P. Diddy after knowing you as Puff Daddy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna get us to change and call you another name. Like, who do you think you are? You know what I mean? So it makes sense that he did that, knowing full well behind his head that, you know, in the back of his mind, sorry, that he had all of these things that were probably going to come to roost. But a part of me also thinks that is too convenient. That's too much of a convenient sort of like narrative. I personally think he didn't see this coming, My personal opinion is that he was doing all those reinventions and rebrands because he's Diddy and he just like likes to fucking rebrand himself. He's an eccentric guy. He wants to be creative. He wants to have another new spark, whatever it may be. But I don't think he ever envisioned a scenario where Cassie would snitch on him. I don't think he ever envisioned that, because the Cassie one was a big one. The Cassie one was the one because that was his girl. She was ride or die for a long time until she wasn't. I'm sure there were maybe threats that were maybe levied at her to keep her quiet, maybe send her money, whatever. And obviously for her, it wasn't enough. She had to kind of let this be known in public, and she let it be known, and there we go. And maybe him also getting a bit comfortable. There was a period of time where, I don't remember if this is true, but I'm trying to just go off memory. I seem to remember there was a period where Diddy was like liking her pictures and shit, kind of doing this like, I wouldn't, if someone's abusing you, I guess it's almost like a form of abuse in itself. It's like they're abusing you via likes and emojis and shit, because you know you don't fuck with this person, so why they're publicly trying to like get your attention, and then have the trolls and their fans, you know, tell you to, oh my god, this is message, and kind of harass you as well. It was a bit weird. So I think maybe, you know, she saw that, the husband saw that. I was like, you know what, enough's enough. We have to kind of draw a line in this sign, and we have to kind of like blow this whole shit up. And they did, and now he's fucking fucked, isn't it, really? So that's my theory, but what do I know? Continuing with the article, it says here, the plane is currently grounded there in in Antigua, although the flight data has yet to be updated. Register him as having officially landed in any case. It's definitely Diddy's jet, no question. The only thing that remains unanswered is whether Diddy's on the plane, and we don't have any evidence that he's on that point, and we also don't know what's happening on the scene. As reported, 2 of Diddy's homes in LA were raided by federal law enforcement on Monday, including an official stormed the properties, taking some people into custody, including Justin and King. Unclear if any arrest took place. The raids also believed to be stemmed by accusations held at Diddy in multiple lawsuits, which have touched on alleged human and sex trafficking, among other claims, all of which were vehemently denied. So, tense situation for him at the moment. I feel most sad for the sons, to be fair, because most likely they're not involved. That's who I really feel the saddest for. It's a bit. I also find it a little bit interesting how they both live at home. Don't you find that a little bit interesting? How Diddy's both of Diddy's sons both live at home, and they're kind of age. I think one's like 29, one's 26. I know it's a mansion, I get it, but wouldn't you want to live in your own house? Especially knowing Diddy's lifestyle and shit. Like, why would you want to be around? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. I was just surprised that they both live at home, to be fair. But fair enough. So let's see what happens. Let's see how that transpires. You know, it'll be even more hilarious if one of his sons ends up snitching on him. I doubt that will happen, because I think the one that's actually involved is a Quincy kid, right? I think the actual kid is involved is Quincy. What's his name again? I don't know how you spell his name. Quincy. There we go. Quincy Brown. This kid. He's the one that's been involved, because I think I think it showed in the flipping court documents that one of the people said that Quincy was involved in something that happened with the record producer. So I think he's the one that might be in trouble. I don't think the other 2 are involved, so from what I can understand. Again, I could be wrong, but I think that's the case. So let's see how this transpires. Let's see how it rolls out. But it's looking pretty grim. It's looking pretty grim for Diddy. This is getting really serious now. And you know, you're imagining this is probably going to go to court. You're imagining it's going to be some fucking jail or prison time if the raid. I don't know how it works in America, but I'd imagine if they're raiding your home in this way, it's not because they made a mistake. It's usually because they kind of dotted all their I's, they crossed all their T's, and they're finally ready to make the next move. I'm just wondering though, did they take too long to like do this? Is there time for him to like get rid of records, delete shit, shred shit, bin shit, throw in the bottom of the ocean? Like, maybe it's too long, maybe they waited too long to kind of get to this stage. Maybe, who knows? Either way, let's see how it transpires. Absolutely wild moment to see in this whole fucking layout. It'll be curious to see by the end of the year if we end up seeing DJ Envy and Diddy both in prison. That would be so fucking funny if that ends up being one of the things that we see going into the end of the year. For me anyway, I think that would be fucking hilarious. But hey, what do I know? What do I bloody know? And there's one person who isn't holding Diddy down. Young Miami. Look at Young Miami's post. Look at Young Miami's post. Imagine giving this girl the lifestyle she could have never afforded on her own, holding her down, taking her shopping, you know, doting over her, treating her like a real bad bee, like she wanted to be, and then this is the thanks you get. This finna be a fun summer, Young Miami says on Twitter. And it's a few hours after the rest happened. Is she trolling? Does she not give a fuck? Like, what the? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Diddy just got arrested, right? Diddy just got arrested. Oh, no, sorry. Diddy's homes have just been raided. His sons are in cuffs. He's currently out in Antigua somewhere, right? Or allegedly there was a video of him pacing around somewhere outside the airport in Miami. And Young Miami is out here doing this. Big up Horror Movies Hustlers. Appreciate you.
Big up Zynga Nation, we out here.
Yeah, big up, big up. We're not doing no Zinger Nation shit, but big up regardless. Thank you, Horror Movie Hustle. I fucking hate that Zinger Nation shit, but fair enough. Young Miami's out here not giving a single fuck in it. But I'm gonna be honest, man. I think I would have given her more ratings. I think she would have looked like less of a bird and less of an idiot if she just held him down. I would have given her more ratings. She's like, you know what? Right or wrong, I'm gonna stand by this guy, because she was also allegedly involved in some of the fucking, you know, sexual deviancy. Because that record producer who recently sued Diddy, who was meant to be working on the Love album, he said that she was in the room, or one of her friends tried to like come on to him, something about that, but she was involved. So she got involved with Diddy late, but she was on that fuck shit super early. So, or super quickly, sorry. Which makes sense, because if you remember Young Miami, I think she's mentioned in one episode, or maybe a podcast or something, that she likes it when people like pissing her and shit. So she's clearly a bit of a freak anyway. So probably Diddy was just lucky in that he happened to like by happenstance, he happened to like, you know, bump into a young girl like this who's also with the fuck shit. You know, unlike fucking Cassie probably was maybe manipulated or convinced into it. Yeah, maybe probably just, you know, took to it like a duck to water. You know, but god damn it, Young Miami. At least be somewhat, at least pretend you're holding the guy down. You know what I mean? This finna be a fun summer, you know. What an absolutely horrendous, ill-timed fucking tweet. She does not give a single fuck, which is, you know, it is what it is. I guess in some respects, it's probably best for her brand now that she kind of leans into this idea that she's, you know, what you call it? She's the black version of fucking Ghislaine Maxwell or something, right? It's probably good for her brand. She leans into it a little bit, and she doesn't try and explain or cry or say sorry. But I would have preferred if she just held him down publicly, just said, fuck it, I'm holding you down. The same way Memphis Depay bailed out Danny Alves, you know, even though he was fucking, you know, convicted, I think, of rape and shit. Like, because he's his friend, he doesn't care. Cool. I think the same thing should have happened there. Just fucking hold it down. Just hold it down. Be like, you know what, fuck it. This is my guy. I'm riding with Pappy. This is my fucking dude. Whatever. I don't care who he raped. Those girls are fucking dummies. You know what I mean? Like, just start victim blaming as well. Start gaslighting. Just go in. But she couldn't do it. She couldn't handle it, and it kind of is what it bloody is. It kind of is what it bloody is. What can you do about that? What can you do about that? Absolutely freaking nothing. And then of course Cassie's lawyer also responded. This is courtesy of the Shade Room. Cassie's lawyer responded to the Homeland Security going and raiding Diddy's home. This is courtesy of the Shade Room, and the actual official comment is on the next slide. It says, "We will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those that have violated the law. Hopefully this is the beginning of process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for his depraved conduct." God damn. Depraved conduct. Cassie's lawyer is spitting. Depraved conduct. Depraved conduct. They are spitting. But yeah, like I said, my theory is that I don't think Diddy ever saw a scenario, a timeline, a situation where Cassie would air him out. Because I think if there was one person that would have if there's one person that everyone would believe, it's gonna be Cassie, because we've seen her. She's been she's been the one person beside him that we've seen consistently over the years. Do you know what I mean? Because they were together for a long time. I think he picked up Cassie when she was like fresh on the scene. He kind of stole her off of that guy Ryan Leslie, innit? Who kind of like brought her into the scene. I think actually Ryan Leslie was actually dating her, if I'm not mistaken. And then Diddy just jacked her off of Ryan Leslie, and then kind of made her fucking bad boy, and then kind of continued cashing in. So Cassie was the only person who everyone would believe, and Cassie was the only person that probably had the evidence to actually put the case together, which is why they settled out of court. That's why Diddy didn't even want to take that shit to court. He didn't want to risk it. He didn't want to risk more shit coming out. He just denied, settled out of court, and then tried to spin the whole, just because I fucking settled out of court doesn't mean that I'm guilty, which is like, okay, guy. Okay. Anyway, so that's the situation at hand. Pretty wild, pretty sick situation. Hopefully it all gets sorted. Hopefully it all gets sorted for the victims, of course. The Diddy situation, who knows what's the case there. The fact that he's flying away to Antigua on the same day his house got raided is probably not a good sign for his innocence. But, stranger things have happened. You have to always give people, the benefit of the doubt in some of these type of cases, I guess. But, conveniently flying away to Antigua when the police are raiding your home is a bit crazy. But hey, what can you do? Next on the list here. This is a bit of random news because I don't really know much about baseball, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. SHOHEI OHTANI, right? SHOHEI OHTANI says he never gambled on sports. I think this is a weird story. I just saw this online. I thought, this smells a bit fishy. What do you guys think? This smells a bit fishy. So, SHOHEI OHTANI speaks out for the first time since his ex-interpreter was accused of theft. Here's what was said, right? And I don't know about you, but this sounds a bit smelly. It says, speaking for the first time since his former interpreter was accused of stealing money from his baseball star's account to gamble on sports, Los Angeles Dodgers player SHOHEI OHTANI told this side of the story. In a statement to the media, OHTANI said he only learned of the alleged theft last week during a baseball series in South Korea, and the accused longtime Japanese interpreter Ippei Mizuhara was stealing money from his account and lying. Mizuhara was fired by OHTANI's lawyers, accused him of stealing millions of dollars and placing bets on bookmakers under federal investigation, according to ESPN Los Angeles Times, which reported the story. The star is a two-way player, signed an unparalleled 10-year, $700 million deal with the Dodgers this offseason. So, I'm just thinking, my initial thought was, how do you not know your interpreter was stealing money from you all those years? Either he's got so much money he doesn't notice, or my theory is, allegedly, this interpreter was working on his behalf, but he wanted some level of like, what's that thing called? He wanted some level of like, he didn't want to be culpable in it. So the whole scheme was like, oh, he's doing it by stealing my money. Because it sounds a bit fishy. Like, how would he not know that he was stealing his money? How would he have no idea that his money, like, come on, bro. Like, I don't know, this smells a bit fishy. And the fact that he wouldn't take questions from the journalists and stuff was also a bit weird. If you're innocent and you're a victim of a crime, why are you then sitting down at a press conference saying your statement and then refusing not to take questions? Seems a bit fishy, unless you're also being charged. I don't know. I think the interpreter and him were in cahoots, and then the plan got rumbled, and here we are. That's my interpretation of the events. But again, I could be wrong. I don't know nothing about baseball. I just learned about this guy because he signed that fucking crazy $700 deal. And obviously, I only know him because Brendan talks about his son playing baseball times. Maybe I had, my eye open to the baseball news. But I could be wrong. Who bloody knows? Who bloody knows? Moving on from this one. Let's play a really good funny clip for some of you guys out there that's going to remind you why Brendan at one point was quite funny, or why why TFATK was funny at one point, and most of it had to do with the guest. And it also a reminder with this clip of why some people don't like Brendan and why he can't understand why some people don't like him. This is a pretty cool clip to kind of show you what's going on here. So let's play this for you here. A little vintage throwback from when TFATK used to be actually quite decent.
it'll cure Down syndrome, bro. I beat it.
How you beat it?
Well, there's a lot of rumors in my town that I beat Down syndrome.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's inspiring, man.
That's how I felt when I heard them, because I didn't start them. And that's one of the things that's beautiful about sometimes being in a small town is, you know, it doesn't take long for you to hear shit about yourself.
Doesn't, right?
Yeah, you get more feedback.
Yeah.
In LA, some guy walks by you in the hall and like, oh, look at this fucking chimpanzee, you know, but you never know.
You never hear it.
But in a small town, there's only 9 people.
You know, you hear it now, though, these days, social media.
Yeah.
They'll get you.
You get a lot of haters on there?
I'm sure. I don't see a lot of it, but I'm sure.
Do you remember when Brendan used to always lie about not seeing social media? I'm sure I don't see a lot of it though. I'm just so busy. I'm just making so much money. You know, he kind of reminds me of, you know, that kid online called Jack Doherty. Do you guys know him? The streamer online who's like mad annoying. He winds people up online. He winds people. He walks around. He like gets into confrontations with people and then hides behind his security. Almost like Neon, this little white kid. And sometimes whenever he gets criticized or people start piling onto him, he'll respond on social media and he'll post like a picture of like a Louis bag. He'll post a picture of his watch. You get what I mean? You know that kid, Jack Doherty. Is it Jack Doherty? I think it's Jack Doherty, right? Yeah, there we go. He's a streamer. Let's see. Let's do watches. And you just start flexing. He just does that as like a way to like, oh yeah, people just hate him because I got loads of money. Like this type of kid, right? So whenever Brendan used to do that whole like, oh, I don't check social media, I don't know if people are saying bad or good things about me, you know, I'm just too bit like kind of insinuate like I'm just too busy making money, doing great things, I don't have time to fucking check social media and shit, right? And then that's the kind of thing he used to do all the time with the type of comments. But I find it hilarious how he doesn't know if he gets hate or not. Like, come on, you know you get hate or not. Let's go back one more time. That's fucking hilarious clip. One more time.
They'll get you.
You get a lot of haters on there?
I'm sure. I don't see a lot of it, but I'm sure. Do you?
I don't think so. I mean, I get some stuff, I guess, but I don't think anything.
Not really.
I'm trying to think of something.
It'd be tough to.
Big up.
What's next after a raid?
Big up, lovely Lucinda. What's up next? What's up next? What's up next? What's up? What's next after a raid? I guess arrest, isn't it? I think you talk about the Diddy stuff. I guess arrest would probably be the next thing after a raid. Let's see what happens though. They're being very cautious not to announce any charges, isn't it? I wonder why that is. Is that just how it works over there in the States? Maybe because he's a really famous person. They've been very cautious not to say anything about, you know, anything about the charges. They've been very, very careful. Like you know what he may be getting charged for. They're just like really chilling and taking it super calm, super easy, and just waiting until, you know, to go there. But hey, what do you know? Big up, lovely Lucinda. Appreciate you.
To hate on you because you're not really. I'll get some hate. Obviously, one of my.
Oh, you're easier to hate. I think.
Well, you think?
I mean, there's just more.
You see how you're surprised? Can we just go back to that one more minute? You see how Brendan's head snaps? He's actually surprised to hear somebody say that he's easy to hate. And you'd imagine someone like him would know that he's easy to hate. Because he is. Because of how he acts, because of how he speaks to people, because of his come up, because of the Rogan Association. There's loads of reasons why somebody would hate. There's some people on the subreddit, on the T5K subreddit, that hate him simply because of the clothes he wears. Now, I'm not going to hate the clothes he wears because I'm into clothes, I'm into fashion, I'm into streetwear and shit. So I get it, right? But there's some people on the subreddit who fucking hate what he wears. They fucking hate everything he wears. They hate the look of his face. They hate his hair. So the fact that he doesn't know these things is funny because I think, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I think when somebody hates something about you, it's okay. It doesn't mean you have to change it, but it's almost important to know what it is so you can kind of double down on it. It's almost like that thing that what's his name does, that thing that Andrew Tate does, right? Andrew Tate hands, right? Let's see, Andrew Tate hands. Do you know that thing, that little sign that Andrew Tate does when he's sitting down, when he kind of puts his hands in a triangle? This thing here. You see this thing here? I'm pretty sure Andrew Tate knows everybody hates when he does this, and he probably just leans into it, does it more just to get under people's skin. So it's a little trigger every time. You know what I mean? That's a probably good way to kind of get under people's skin. So you know, they hate something about you. They hate the way you talk. They hate your head is bald. They hate how you stand, how you sit. So you just kind of lean into it. So the fact that Brendan doesn't know that what people hate about him, or isn't aware that he's easily unlikable or whatever, is really bizarre. But look how he snaps his head when Theo says you're easy to hate. Look, he's perturbed. He can't understand it.
Oh, you're easier to hate. I think.
Well, you think?
I mean, there's just more. I mean, not.
You think? He really has no idea that people hate him. It's almost impressive. It's actually impressive how unaware he is of like how much people don't like him.
Hear shit about yourself.
Doesn't, right?
Yeah, you get more feedback.
Yeah.
In LA, some guy walks by you in the hall and like, oh, look at this fucking chimpanzee, you know, but you never know.
You never hear it.
But in a small town, there's only 9 people.
You know, you hear it now, though, these days, social media.
Yeah.
They'll get you.
You get a lot of haters on there?
I'm sure. I don't see a lot of it, but I'm sure. Do you?
I don't think so. I mean, I get some stuff, I guess, but I don't think anything.
Not really.
I'm trying to think of something.
It'd be tough to hate on you because you're not really. I'll get some hate. Obviously, one of my.
Oh, you're easier to hate.
Well, you think?
I mean, there's just more. I mean, not in like a. If I know, you know. But if I just see you, dude, walking by, yeah, dude.
More than you?
Oh, dude. I'm like, who's this? Bro, you look like a mechanic from Nordstrom Rack, dude. That's the fucking problem.
Isn't it hilarious that Brendan now looks more like a mechanic from Nordstrom Rack than before? Especially in his like faux wannabe car guy gearhead fucking attire with the trucker hats and the t-shirts and shit from the garages. He actually looks more like a mechanic from Nordstrom Rack now than ever before. Absolutely crazy how fucking, you know, time proves everything, isn't it? Big up Theo Vaughn, fucking Theo Nostradamus.
Dude. You're like, damn, I didn't know Nordstrom Rack did tires, you know? This dude looked like a fucking, yeah.
Bro.
I also love the fact that Brendan has no reply. You know how we should have already guessed that Brendan was going to quit stand-up comedy. We should have knew it from this clip alone. Brendan doesn't have any good clapbacks. This was, again, think about the show. This was the primer before King and the Sting. These were the shows that did really well, got loads of good numbers. They were laughing. It was also the only opportunity that we got to see Brendan kind of getting like ribbed because he was so he's so like thin skinned, and Brian is obviously his fucking, you know, uncle. He's cucking chief, so he never fucking goes and says anything or tries to oppose him. So when Theo was first on the show, he was the one that was first, you know, kind of pushing and kind of probing and teasing him a little bit, because no one else would. So it's quite funny to see how this shit is all played out now. Because in this particular episode, or even to the, you know, the first episodes of King of the Sting, Brendan was struggling to keep up with Theo. The comedic timing was like crazy. You know, the disparity in like the comedic talent was crazy. Theo was like always like on it, and obviously Brendan was struggling. Even here, he doesn't really say nothing. He just keeps laughing, but he doesn't have a good reply back because, you know, it's fucking Theo Vaughn.
What the fuck,
I'm just saying, dude.
Bro, you look like
a guy
fresh off the boat. You look like you're an extra from Waterboy.
Oh, God. Dude, you look, bro.
Bro,
you gotta get a better mirror, man.
Bro, me.
Yeah, exactly, Uche. Exactly, Uche knows, man. Those first episodes of King and the Sting, I'm still gonna stand by it. The beginning of Fighting the Kid was good. The beginning of King and the Sting was good. Then they all fell off. But the early days of King and the Sting were really good, especially when the studio was like yellow. The first couple of times they were doing it, it was fucking good and really funny. And again, like I said, it was probably Brendan's most likable period. He's got small likable chunks of time. That one and maybe some early episodes with Joe were quite good. But apart from that, it fell off a cliff. It fell off a cliff so fucking hard, and it's all his own fucking doing. I've also noticed, have anyone else noticed here on his head? I wonder if that's because of Ozempic. Back in the day, he was on TRT a lot, right? And he grew this extra like thing above his eyebrow, this almost like an extra second forehead thing. I wonder if now, because he doesn't have it now, you don't really see it as much. I wonder if like stopping doing TRT reduces all this shit, or HGH. Because remember, he used to have like an extra thing, like an extra little bit of meat or lump above his eyebrow. Now it's not there anymore, because obviously he's on Ozempic and he's losing a bunch of weight. Maybe the weight is melted off his face as well, I don't know, but he looks fucking wild. Imagine taking HGH and doing Botox and getting your lips plumped. Like, the guy's a fucking wild boy, innit? He's a fucking wild boy. But anyway, let's continue. Let's get it there.
Fucking cheap mirrors, dude.
Bro, you and I have the same mirror. If you think you and I walked down the street and people focused on me.
Oh, dude, nah.
Bro, you have a mullet. And I celebrate it.
By the way, Brendan now has a mullet. Theo said Brendan looks like a mechanic from Northern Rack. Now he looks more like a mechanic from Northern Rack. And now, when back then Brendan was insulting Theo because of his fucking mullet and taking a piss out of it, but now Brendan has a mullet because he's trying to pretend to be like, what, Southern. He's trying to pretend to be fucking that Taylor Lewin guy, right? Who kind of, you know, weirdly looks up to, which is odd. You know, I don't know about you, but there's no way in hell that I'm going to be looking up to another man, especially if we're like the similar age and shit. I'm not going to be looking up to you for like styling tips and shit. Like, you can get fucked. Do you know what I mean? But he's obviously trying to copy him. So it's funny how, you know, it's funny how shit comes back around.
Oh, no, you look, bro. Let me think about exactly what you look like, dude. Bro, you look like
I know track mechanic.
Yeah, you do. Bro, that's what you look.
And this is honestly, this is the only time that Brendan actually got ribbed like this. And I remember at the time it being quite refreshing to see him actually getting some ribbing and having some comedic sort of like play. But it was also very evident to see that he doesn't have any good clapbacks or replies. He just keeps laughing and repeating the same joke. The same thing he kind of does now. Just repeating a joke, saying it another way, repeating a joke, saying it another way, laughing. Dude. But you have a mullet. It's like, come on, bro. You're a professional comedian. You need some more. Come on.
Bro,
that was awesome. Bro,
you look like,
man, dude.
You look like somebody that...
Look, he's actually looking up at the sky, searching for answers. He's looking up at the heavens. Please, God, rain down on me a joke. Rain down on me a clapback so I can fucking, you know, send this bum back to fucking South Carolina or wherever he's fucking from. He's looking for an answer. Please, God above, please give me something. Please give me something.
Drinks Keels at the airport, dude. You look fucking troubled, man. What? You look like you just drink small bottles of Keels hand lotion at the airport. You got issues, man.
Oh,
you need to start seeing how people see you.
You need a new mirror, brother. Nah, dude. You need a fucking mirror.
Bro, you need a sketch artist. Shin can't draw something? You can't mock up a decent image of this man, dude?
Nah, Theo's the best, man. I don't care what anyone says. Theo's the fucking best. Do you think Chin can draw? Chin can sing, allegedly, right? Chin knows how to cook, allegedly. Chin knows how to do what manly stuff like go camping and fish, allegedly. Do you think Chin can actually draw? I bet he's one of those guys that probably draws hentai at home, innit? He draws his own porn at home and wanks onto that. He probably is. I wouldn't be surprised if Chin did dabble in a bit of hentai at home. It's just art, and I bet he's the kind of person who like vehemently defends his right to draw hentai because he counts it as art. He's like, yeah, it's just art. It's the same thing as like impressionism, cubism. You know, it's just another art form. He definitely fucking does that. I'm sure of it. I'm fucking sure of it. He just sits there tracing, you know, pictures of like anime pictures of like vaginas and shit. Fucking wild boy, coloring them in with like watercolor pencils and shit, dipping him in water and then pretending. No, let's not say that.
This guy looks like the fucking. You look like Lenny from Of Mice and Men, but if it were filmed in like if it were filmed probably more.
It's filmed in the Great Gatsby
in Sacramento, I think, bro.
Fuck yeah, dude. Oh.
You look like the biggest retarded kid in Sacramento.
Oh my god! Oh my
bro,
god.
And that's true, dude. And I mean that, dude, and I don't mean that in a mean way.
No, I feel you, man. You're the one that beat Down syndrome in Louisiana.
But
that's not saying much.
Brendan repeating the joke that Theo already said about himself to himself. Nice.
This neck and neck. Look at you right there, Lenny Small, right there, bro. You look like straight up Lenny Small, dude.
Switching this jacket.
Dude, you look like you're like the dude who, if everybody's escaping prison, you'd be like, nah, I gotta be up in the morning for breakfast. You know what I'm saying? Like you'd be the dude that's like doesn't get that everybody's fucking getting out. You know?
Oh,
Okay, guy. Have fun in here.
Nah, I'm sorry, but fucking Theo was a monster back then. When he first arrived on the scene, it's almost like that meme when people say like, oh, they were rapping for the rent because the rent was due. Theo was busting out jokes that the rent was due. He was fed up of not having any money. He was fed up of being unknown, and he came with these, you know, he was on Mandragon time. You know, Brian Cannon always does that fucking Mandragon shit. Theo was definitely on Mandragon time. He came on and blitzed that whole shit, and unfortunately for those guys, he superseded them. Like he went crazy to a point where now he doesn't even come back on the show. You know what I mean? That's the sad thing about it. How it all worked out. You know, Brian Cannon gets accused of rape. Chris D'Elia goes down of diddling, allegedly for both of them. Brendan gets into a tit for tat with fucking Bobby Lee and all that sort of drama. And Theo just couldn't handle all that shit. He didn't want to be in the middle of it, so just fucking ducked, and he hasn't been back since. So that's a bit sad, but hey, what can you do? What can you do? A very rare time when the T-Fat-K show was quite decent, and a very rare time where Brendan was able to make some sort of a fun show by just being the butt of the jokes, really, and not having any good reply or retort back. But yeah, what can you do? What can you do? Let me see what happens if I plug back in the camera one more time. Let's see if it fucks up. Let's see what happens if I plug in the camera again. Will it fuck up? Oh, it's not even turning on again. You see? The camera's not even turning on again. That's how fucking fucked it is. Maybe it's the camera, maybe it's the computer, who fucking knows? It doesn't actually matter anyway. We're not going to have a camera for the rest of the stream. Let's continue going on. So we've done that. We've seen him do this. We're also going to watch this clip of Ari Shaffir talking about Joe Rogan and Shane Gillis's level of fame. I think this is a really fun one to check out. Mainly because I think this is a good reminder to most of you guys, or to most people out there, not most of you guys, to everyone out there, be careful what you wish for when it comes to fame. And it's also a really good insight into what it must be like for other comedians, you know, for other comedians in that group when someone else gets famous. Big up Theodore.
Theo also got betrayed by Brendan when he took the deal with Podcast One, and Theo was fighting for his money still.
Yeah, of course. I think in those kind of, I don't know if I'm gonna be a contrarian here. Brendan has a family to look after. You know what I mean? He has a family. He has employees to look after. I think in that situation, as scummy, don't get me wrong, I'm a different person. I wouldn't have done that. And as scummy as what he did, I understand why he did do what he did, looking after number one. I think that was probably the right thing to do, to kind of look after your family, make sure you're sorted out in that regard. Would I have done that? Obviously not. Is it a scummy thing to do? Obviously it is, because, you know, the narrative that exists out there is that most likely Brendan was the one that introduced Theo to Podcast One, and he basically boasted about all of his fucking leverage. No, he basically boasted about all of his money he was making there, how good they were to him, blah, 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 blah. And Theo obviously got gassed and jumped onto the Podcast One thing. It didn't work out. They didn't end up paying them the money that were owed. And then, of course, when they went into the other company, I forgot what the other company is, when it kind of got sold, and it got absorbed by another kind of podcast company. Brendan was the only one that ended up getting his money because he's the only one that signed a new deal. And they obviously wanted some good PR, and to get some grace or whatever because of lawsuits, who knows. So they end up paying Brendan the money by taking out a loan from some bank in Spain or something crazy like that, and they paid him the money. So they paid him, I think, like $1 million or whatever he was owed, and obviously Theo was still fighting for his money, which he hasn't still received, I don't think, probably to this day. So on paper you would say, hey, maybe, yeah, sorry, it's Cast Media. Thank you, Jared Mallory. So the company before it got absorbed into Podcast One was called Cast Media. So maybe if you're Theo, you would feel a little bit aggrieved at Brendan for not holding you down and not defending you. But I also think, you know, you can't really blame Brendan for not backing Theo in that regard because he was trying to think about his family. You know, I understand why he did it. Don't get me wrong. Would I have done it? Obviously not. Is it a scummy thing to do? Obviously it is. But I kind of understand why he did it. You know, I kind of get why he did it because, you know, look after your family and shit. And he's got, you know, he's got serious bills. That guy's bills are not nothing to fucking laugh about. Like, that guy must pay, like, he's paying bucks. You know, Brendan is paying fucking, his monthly expenditure on bills alone must be fucking wild. So I understand why he, you know, decided, you know what, I have to abandon everyone. I have to take this fucking shitty deal. I have to break rank. I have to fucking, you know, cross the picket line, you know, as they say in the unions and shit, and do what I have to do to protect my family. Anyway, big up, who was that? That was Theodore. Big up Theodore, appreciate you. Let's continue. So this is a clip that features Ari Shaffir talking on the KFC show on Barstool Sports, and he just talks about how hanging out with Rogan and Shane Gillis, or hanging out with Rogan because he's super famous, is annoying, and why Shane Gillis's newfound fame is also somewhat annoying. Very interesting, insightful clip here. I think you guys will get a kick out of.
Like, your brain just gets...
Can you imagine how ridiculous this is? Can you imagine how ridiculous it is that there's now comedians? I didn't know this was to be true, but Ari Shaffir saying this, he's probably right because he's around these guys. He's now saying there are comedians out there who are trying to look like they're big shots by hiring security when they go and do shows and shit to look like they're important or whatever. Or maybe it's a weird way to kind of get through the crowds. Maybe you purposely hire somebody just so you don't have to keep saying excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, or touch people or just communicate with anyone. You just want to go from your car to the stage. Maybe that's what they're doing. They're doing it purely for a logistical reason, just to kind of increase their amount of time, just to decrease the amount of time it takes them to get from their car to the stage or to the green room. But if it's just an ego or a boost or like an insecurity thing, you have to be a real fucking loser to hire security just to kind of feel important. It almost is similar to those people. Remember before, I think it was before the pandemic, when all those influencers were like going on those fake private jets. Do you remember that? There were these like stationary jets that you could go on and you could take pictures of yourself to make yourself look like you're in a jet. It was like a thing for like a really short period of time. I'm not sure if it still is a thing now, but obviously that was like, you know, maybe it was like a thing of like, because during the pandemic, everyone was sort of like grounded. We didn't have anywhere to go, restrictions everywhere. But if you had the money, you could go anywhere really. You could kind of get yourself a fake jab. You could skip the queue and get jabbed. You could basically, you know, get the fake COVID passport. Everything is open to you. And obviously, you got the means to go anywhere you want. So maybe that whole influencer thing was a way of people like trying to pretend that they were rich too by sitting in a plane and then, you know. So these comedians are fucking insane how it works. LA is like, maybe it's not just the LA thing, but maybe it's talking about LA. Either way, it's such a redacted thing to want to pretend to be Joe Rogan rich. Like, Joe Rogan's like the 1% of the 1%ers. Do you know what I mean? Like, why would you even care? Like, I don't know. These guys are fucking insane. Instead of spending all that time actually writing good jokes and trying to come up with good material or trying to put on a good show, they're wasting their time spending money on security, on former fucking Navy SEALs to fucking try and make them look important. By the way, these former Navy SEALs, these Marines and shit, they must be booked and busy, innit? Keeping, you know, making sure they keep Kardashians and extended family safe and fucking low-level comedians. Absolutely crazy. Imagine this dork walking behind cops when he goes to the Super Bowl because he thinks he's fucking Pat McAfee or some shit, right? He thinks he's fucking Skip Bayless. You know, honestly, these guys, man. Don't get me wrong. I know Barstool Sports is huge, but having a police escort to go to the Super Bowl because you do what? So YouTube, honest. Have you seen? By the way, this guy, they did some recent thing. Whoever did that as a genius at Barstool Sports, they did something where they did like a they did like a Barstool version of the Combine. Yo, I'm not gonna play the video now because my computer will probably blow up. But there's a Barstool version of the NFL Combine, and I swear to God, it's fucking hilarious how unathletic these motherfuckers are. One of the guys, I think it was him. He couldn't even run. Like he couldn't even run like 40. Like he couldn't run. Like there was no form. there was nothing. Like the lack of like explosiveness, the lack of like fast twitch muscles, the lack of like jumping and be able to land properly. I'm like, wow, bro. Like you guys, you can tell the kids that just did not play football. And you know what's funny? I've noticed, and I'm not too sure if this is more of an American thing. I think it is, personally for me. I'm gonna judge. I think it is more of an American thing. I get the feeling there's way more people in America who are very who are very much into sports, talk about it very passionately, but have never really played it. Whereas I feel like in the UK, anybody that's really into sports usually plays it as well recreationally, not professionally forever. They actually play it. Like they play basketball, they play cricket, they play football, badminton, fencing, whatever. They play it, rugby. But I feel like in the States, people just like, they talk very passionately, almost very knowledgeable, like, you know, sounding about what they're talking about. Tactics, this, she should have done that player should have done this. But then when you give them a ball, they have no idea what to do. When you tell them to run, they have no idea what to do. When you tell them to jump, they have no idea what to do. It's fucking wild.
Like
And that's the truth of it. And he's actually right. I think that is the lamest part. I think actually being friends with somebody that's famous must be quite lame when you go out, because you kind of have to let them do their thing. Then you just awkwardly stand to the side, and then when they finish doing their thing, you continue on. And it's that constantly. And even when you go sit down, and I'd imagine, because I think in the UK we're a bit more respectful when it comes to celebrities. We'd kind of leave them alone. But obviously in the States, you guys don't leave them alone, right? You have fucking paparazzi there that are serious. We have paparazzi too, but they wouldn't, you know, they're not going to fucking quiz you at your fucking dinner table. But you have people that are going to walk up to these guys on their table, mid fucking munch, walk up to them behind, you know, tap them on the shoulder when they're sitting, eating a Waffle House, you know, fucking at 4 a.m. in the morning after boozing and, you know, smashing fucking prozzies. You know what I mean? Like, just in the worst possible moments, like, you know, fucking talking to them while they're pissing in the toilet. You're like, Jesus Christ, give these guys a break. So I think that lack of like boundaries and respect is a bit crazy over there. I think more so than in the UK. That's the only issue I'd imagine that could happen. Obviously, yeah, exactly what Joe said is right. It depends where you are, but unfortunately, these guys live in the places where you're gonna get mostly hassled. New York probably less so. I feel like New York was kind of like, when I went to New York all those years ago, I feel like New York and London are quite similar in that people just get on with their shit. They're so busy. It's a rat race. You know, life is so expensive. Rent is so high. Your mortgage is fucking crazy. You just have to you just going to and from. You got no, you know, the most you do is like, yeah, what's up? But there's not, because I think that's why for a long period of time, I remember maybe a couple of years, Rihanna was living in London. Rihanna was living in London for a couple of years, no issue. No one ever knew. She was living in London, going to the shops and shit, chilling, and no one really kind of knew, because, you know, people just leave you alone in London. They don't really make a big stink out of it. Whereas you think if Rihanna moved to fucking Michigan, people would fucking flock all over there and be taking pictures of her wherever she went. Arizona, you know what I mean? Ohio, like they would follow her everywhere. So I think it's completely different over there in the States. You guys really, really, you know, want to have your 5 minutes with these guys, which is understandable, you know, because they're famous and shit. But hey, what can you do?
Bar with Shane and Austin, and just like it was like nonstop bros just asking for pictures, and I was like, Shane, your life fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah.
And that's very true as well, what Ari said. Shane, you'd imagine, has a probably majority bro audience. Those type of guys really enjoy talking to people like that, and they feel like they know him or whatever. So that must be even worse, because they're probably high, they're probably drunk, very touchy-feely, don't know when to leave. Like, you know, he's got a good audience because they're obviously very loyal and they're going to support him until the end, and they're probably very vocal about their support also. But when you do bump into him in real life, situation. Yo, big up Coiler. What sad is when celebrities get mad that no one is noticing them. Yeah, of course. You can't complain about this sort of stuff, the attention you get, and then also complain when you don't get it. That's a fucking ridiculous situation to be in. But I think there is a perfect level of celebrity. It does exist out there. There is a level that you can get to that's enough to like, that's probably good enough to like make sure that you are living that life until the day you die in terms of money you're making. is good enough where you're gonna get, you know, noticed for certain things, but it's not for other things. But it's not overbearing to the point where you can't even go and fill up your car with fucking petrol and shit. That's when it gets too crazy. That's the level that most of us should be in my opinion, or what should try to aspire. I'm the same, by the way. When I'm going to nightclubs, I hate the green room. I'd rather be in a dance hall dancing with people, especially be in the green room. You're just full of like people in the industry who just want to take drugs, like without having to go to the toilet. You know what I mean? That's all it is, green rooms, essentially. Or people just gossiping. I'd rather be in a dance hall fucking shaking ass and shit. But, you know, if you're with Rogan and you go to like a steakhouse, you probably do need a private room. Because if someone walks into a steakhouse and sees Rogan there, they're going to come over and say hi. They're going to say, thank you for all the pods. You've saved my life. I nearly jumped out the window, but then I heard you talk about fucking Trump and COVID, and I just sat back down on my chair and I knew life was worth living. You know what I mean? Yeah, I heard you talking about fucking ivermectin for the millionth time, right? And I just knew I couldn't end it there. I had to fucking give life another go. So I just think it's the nature of the beast. But to be fair to Rogan, let's give Rogan some flowers here. All these faults, especially in recent years, you know, one thing that I really admire about Rogan that he doesn't do, he never complains about paps. He never complains about fans. Big up Victor
Then you have Schaub and his busted missus who hire paparazzi to take pics of them at the stinky steakhouse. Bean cheese, bean cheese, bean cheese, bean cheese, bean cheese.
You can't
bean
see
cheese.
me, but I'm doing it. Big up Victoria in Japan. I wouldn't say his wife is busted. Let's be fair too. The wife isn't busted. Let's be fair. I think there are plenty of people in the stream chat, plenty of people outside of the stream chat in real life that would probably bust her down if needed. Do you know what I mean? Let's not lie. But yeah, that paparazzi hiring thing is wild. We already talked about it in the last stream, but Brendan Schaub's wife hiring paparazzi to take pictures for his surprise 41 birthday party, but then the pictures turning out like it was actually her party and not his. Chef's kiss. That's what I say to you guys. I don't like talking about the wife too much, but I think that's why they're perfect for each other, because they're the same person. It's basically, you know, they're opposite. They're just different genders. That's it. But they're exactly the same person. Only Brendan Schaub's wife would hire a photographer to take paparazzi-like pictures of them pulling up to a steakhouse, and then when the pictures get developed, it looks like it's actually the wife's birthday, not his. That was one of the best things I noticed about this bitch. Like, what the fuck? Why does he keep noticing her? Why is she smiling at the camera? Why is it like the focus just on her? Or maybe the cameraman had the fucking hots for her or something, or I don't know. Who knows what happened in the background? But I did find that whole series to be quite interesting. But hey, what can you do? Big up Victoria in Japan. I do appreciate you.
There, dude.
That's wild, man. You have to be a real dickhead to see Tom Segura and Shane Gillis sitting in a car eating a burger and then you knock on the window. Like, it's one thing if you see him outside of the car, but going up to someone's car and, like, number one, why are you staring into people's car that long anyway? And then to walk up to somebody's car window and you know, and like, if you're not, unless you're asking for directions or help with a tire or something, you have to be a real redact. That's some weird behavior. Very, very strange behavior. But for Shane Gillis, it must be. That's the thing with these guys, which I kind of understand why they turn into dickheads, kind of, in my opinion. It must be pretty hard. Let's think about it. It must be pretty hard. Pretty hard, right? To be like a middle-aged man and then suddenly become famous. Regular schmegular civilian of a middle-aged man doing stand-up for $50 and drink tokens and lunch and maybe a fucking hand job in the toilets and shit, or fucking 8-ball. That's what you're doing comedy for. And then suddenly it turns, your podcast becomes popular, your clips of your stand-up start doing crazy numbers, and now you're making like, you know, tens of thousands of dollars per month, even more. And you're commanding high fees for your stand-up gigs now. Clubs are talking to you differently. You start getting calls from CAA and WME to manage you and represent you. It makes sense why they turn into cunts. Because it does go from like you being a nobody to suddenly you being recognized as like, you know, leader of the new gen or whatever, voice for the people, whatever your fucking slogan is as a comedian. it must be quite hard to kind of maintain some semblance of normality and decency. It must be quite hard to do. So for Shane Gillis, I big him up because he's become more famous in the last 18 months than he ever has, or maybe even last 12 months actually. It's been crazy how things have changed for him, but it also must be like a hard time to kind of not kind of dip his foot into like being a cunt, because it's very tempting, it's very easy. But big up Irish Shaffier, big up KFC there, Barstool Sports little clip there regarding fame and how sometimes it's not always what it's cracked up to be. Moving on from that one, we've got this old clip as well. This is taken from the SHAUB'S show, I think a few episodes back. It's funny because it's Brendan. I almost think he's like trying to convince himself about this, because I don't feel like anybody else doesn't feel this way. But Brendan basically says all MMA fans, all fans of combat sports should always be supporting these very low paid, low compensated, underprivileged, underrepresented fucking athletes, right? They deserve our regular schmegular coins. Listen to Brendan really going hard in the paint to make sure that people do everything possible to support their favorite UFC fighter or favorite, whatever, when they do these celebrity boxing matches. It's pretty funny how he tries to almost convince himself of this, despite him being one of the biggest haters against these MMA fighters going into boxing and shit. So let's play the clip for you and you can see exactly what I mean.
Whether you love the fight or not, you should support it instead of hating on it, doing all this stuff, talking trash on it, talking trash on social media, because these guys are they're going to get the bag. These guys are going to make money. Francis Ngannou. This is my point last week. Francis Ngannou. No matter what happens, of course, social media is being mean to him with the Joshua fight. He's won, guys. He's won. Francis, top 2 heavyweights in the world at the time, had to borrow money from another fighter to make ends meet. That's what they're dealing with.
But you know what's funny? He was one of Francis Ngannou's biggest critics. When he joined the UFC, he called him Czech Congo. When he was trying to negotiate a new deal and doing his own negotiations and not having a manager and agent represent him, he almost insinuated that, Francis didn't know what he was talking about because English isn't his first language. He actually said that. He kind of, he didn't say, obviously verbatim, but he kind of hinted the fact that because English isn't his first language, that there might be like a barrier in terms of like getting the deal over the line because, all these fight promotions have monster lawyers, all this sort of nonsense. Like, dude, how disrespectful do you want to be to this guy? Like, do you have an issue with black people or are you just a cunt? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is going on there? So all the stuff he's saying about Francis and fighters in general, he was the one that was hating the most when Francis did end up getting that crazy deal from the PFL and shit, right? Which, maybe hasn't worked out for PFL as much as it probably has for Francis, but still, like, this idea that, you're not going to get anything from that is just fucking bizarre. But yeah, Brendan's logic is always a bit strange. Him trying to convince us of stuff that we already know. But let's continue.
So him getting the Fury fight, support it. Him getting Anthony Joshua, support it. I don't care if he gets knocked, if he's in there for a whole 10 seconds, he gets knocked out by Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, he's won. Because remember, what he did in the UFC, as much as you guys love him, and very rarely do we see fighter pay complain about now in the media. That stuff is good. You have some of the old heads, Hawani talk about it.
Hawani, not Helwani. Hawani, I love it. Hawani will talk about it. I love how he mentions his name in an effort to make it look like he's not bothered and they're actually friends. Like, he doesn't. It's interesting, like, gaslighting tactic where you're like, no, me and him are cool. We're cool. When you're not cool, you haven't spoken to him, but you say that because it makes you look way more like level-headed, grown-up, stoic, reasonable than the person that is lampooning you. It's fucking hilarious.
Luke Thomas talk about it. Some of the older heads who've been around the game for a while, they know how the circus goes. But the new media wave, the Nelk boys, they assume everyone's set. They don't know. Ignorance is bliss.
Sounds a little bit like jealousy, right? These new people don't know nothing about the UFC business side of things. I know most of it. Like, I don't know. Mention these. I know he's making a point, and his point is largely correct. But when he mentions them, it just sounds a bit like hate to me. I don't know why. It just sounds a bit hatery.
They have no clue. Nina, no clue. No, nor should.
Oh, Nina got another mention. Brendan loves that Nina girl, innit? Does Nina look a little bit? I don't think she does, innit? Nina's a little bit more. That Nina woman is a little bit more tanned, a little bit more olive than his wife. But they both do have dark hair. They both are conventionally pretty in the face. So maybe there's something there. Maybe it's just like a thing that he has, right? That's maybe a type. But he's really into this Nina girl. He really is into her hard. I know, again, what's her name? I forgot her name. Nina, was she a presenter, right? Presenter UFC. I forgot her actual. What's her actual? There we go. Nina Marie Danielle, right? Because Brendan fucking loves this girl, bro. He's always liking her pictures on social media and shit. They got into a little tit for tat recently. But Brendan's always up in this girl's fucking likes. He's never not liking stuff. Always all over the likes. But again, I know she's like the new hot thing on the UFC circuit and stuff. Oh, she's a former Playboy playmate. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, maybe that explains why Brendan's kind of horny. Oh, but she's got a boyfriend though, unfortunately for Brendan. What's her boyfriend look like? Let's see. What does this Nina girl's boyfriend look like? Nina Marie Danielle, boyfriend, who is rapidly evolving MMA creator dating. Let's see who they're dating here. Nina Marie Danielle has become something of a permanent fixture in the MMA scene, especially as it pertains to UFC. The social media influencers achieved a new level of fame by conducting entertaining interviews with countless fighters. But what's on her personal life? Specifically, who has she dated and who is she dating? As it turns out, Nina Marie Danielle is not single. She has a boyfriend by the name of Janelle Castillo. Janelle Castillo, who works as a creative director, and two of them featured each other on their respective Instagram. Nice. He's a creative director. Fucking cool. I love that. She's got like a boyfriend with like a regular job, that isn't like a hype. Because I've always been a big believer. I think opposites always attract. I think having two people who are trying to make it in the entertainment field, I don't think that's a good thing, because if your career starts to pop off and your partner's career isn't, it's a bit stagnant. They can learn to resent you. Imagine you're like leaving the home because you've got a gig, you've got to fly out to a UFC fight card somewhere, and your friend or your partner hasn't been getting callbacks for hosting gigs in like a year. That's going to be a difficult household to kind of be happy in, so big up her for getting together with like a regular person. Furthermore, the pair have been dating officially since 2010. After over a decade together, it's more than safe to say that their relationship is serious. Not long ago, she conducted an interview with former UFC. Yeah, cool. So they're together. Fair play. Fair fucking play. Fair fucking play. Part of the business. To be fair, would you have an issue with how flirty she is with the fighters? Because again, it's not her fault that she's attractive. Would you as a guy, let me know in the stream chat, guys, would you be a little bit annoyed by how she talks to fighters? Would it annoy you? Would that be an issue when she comes back home? Would you want to like put like a hard hand against her face because she's getting a little bit too comfy with Sean Strickland, or she's letting him ask him some mad questions? What do you think? What do you think happens there? 10 years, you'd be somewhat secure, I think. I think I'd be secure. I think I'd be fine with it. It's your job, innit? You just turn it on, and it's what it is. It's no real issue for me in that regard. I wouldn't really mind it, to be fair. I'm not gonna lie. I really wouldn't mind it. Let's continue here.
But that's not what they're not journalists. I'm not either, but I was the sausage. They used
that weird thing was interesting, isn't it? How he paused. I'm not a journalist. It's almost like I'm not a journalist, but I know more than these guys anyway. Which is understandable because he obviously is a former UFC fighter, but it almost is a weird thing to kind of like stumble over your words on. It's almost like his brain was like not computing him having to tell the truth for once. I'm not a journalist. You know what I mean? He did it. It almost like that was the main thing that kind of broke his brain. He had to admit, like aloud, I'm not a journalist.
used my sausage. They ate it up, dude.
Oh, he's gonna be. I thought he was gonna do the Kobayashi joke. I thought he was gonna go for the Kobayashi joke. Of course, he had to fucking, act it out. He couldn't just say the joke. He had to act it out to make it funny, because that's what, real professional comedians do. They just always fucking act out, or, do your bit of physical comedy to kind of get the joke over the line.
So we should be any fighter that goes on to do anything outside the UFC. And remember, if they were compensated like the NFL, NBA, they wouldn't be doing this.
Oh, really?
They wouldn't have to.
I didn't know that.
Like NFL, there's NBA players who were superstars. Blake Griffin, superstar. Dunk contest. You seen him lately? Do you see him doing all this bullshit? Jumping on.
By the way, I wonder who he's been watching recently. There's definitely been a style change in how Brendan's trying to do this Schaub show, where he's almost trying to be like, I don't know, is it like satire? Is it sarcasm? Is it wit? Is it a bit of improv? He's been watching someone, I'm not sure who he's been watching, but he's trying to be a little bit more of a performer when he does these shows, right? He's using Chin and the other guys, his kind of de facto audience. Really interesting how he's changed up a little bit, but still redacted regardless. And I still think at this point is dumb, because I think fight fans can still criticize fighters for going down the boxing route or whatever, like just in terms of wanting to see them at the sport that they kind of introduced them to, the form that they think is more entertaining. It's not an issue for fans to have a problem or kind of to kind of push back against this, like, overabundance, everyone running to the UFC, running to the boxing side of things. But it's obviously still true what Brennan's saying, that if the UFC was paying these people a fair wage, they probably wouldn't need to go and seek other earning opportunities in other leagues or other professions. That's basically the case. I understand what he's kind of trying to get at, but again, when Mbappe says it, it almost always sounds wrong, even when he's right.
TV shows doing time? No, because he made so much money. Check, please. I'm gonna go buy a house in the Palisades and live my life. I made it. That's how it should be, but it's not.
By the way, has it been confirmed officially that Blake Griffin's kid has a baby with that Lana Rhodes woman? Cause I know she was like hiding the identity of her baby daddy for ages. Then somebody leaked and said, it was Blake Griffin. But has he ever kind of publicly acknowledged it, or has he just like refused to be that kid's dad? He's like, look, you were like a one night stand. I'm not about to be a father to a kid I'd never wanted. Like, keep it. What's actually happened? I wonder what's actually happened. Has he just decided, nah, I'm not your dad, man. You gotta find another dad. I'm not your dad. Big up Blake Griffin.
There's nothing we can do about it. So what we can do is support these guys, because Nate Diaz and Jorge will make more money in this fight if we support it than they've made in their entire careers in the UFC.
We're always going to support it, but you can still support something and criticize them for doing the fight. Like, we've all seen, Nate's fights in the fucking cage recently, and they haven't been fun contests to watch, particularly. Now he's going to another fight league to do what? Come on.
That's why all this stuff is good. Whenever you see a UFC fighter doing anything outside the UFC, support it.
But he's the biggest hater. That's the thing that's funny about it. Brennan's saying all this stuff, but he's the biggest hater. He hates the most. When Francis was trying to negotiate that deal, he was insulting and, being condescending and all this sort of shit. And then, of course, he changes his tune as soon as he starts to make money. But he's the biggest hater of them all, so he kind of needs to speak to himself, really. Look in the mirror, my friend. Look in the blood clot mirror. But again, what do I know? What do I know? We continue, we move, we continue to the next thing. I'm sure most of you have seen this as well. This has gone somewhat viral on the TL, which is quite funny when you think about who this is associated with. I'm sure most of you have seen this already. So this is courtesy of an account on Twitter called The Chosenberg. And they decided to get this picture, which is on the Fire and the Kid Reddit, by the way. So these guys obviously, perusing the Reddit. That Reddit must be so popular, even outside of people like us in the Bappaverse. But some non-Bappaverse person, or maybe they are a Bappaverse person. I apologize to Chosenberg if you are part of the homeless cats contingent over there at Chang's. But regardless, this person grabbed this screenshot from the Fire and the Kid sub and put it on their very popular Twitter. And now Look at the fucking views this post has been getting. 7.4 million views, which features Brendan Schaub's wife. I don't know what's that thing called, engagement check-in with her friend. So I guess I guess Brendan Schaub's wife friend is this one, right? Or Brendan Schaub's wife's friend is this one, right? This woman here, who's kind of, oh my god, look, I got engaged, was so happy. And then Brendan Schaub's wife decided to put her hand there as well, and obviously her diamond ring, which, you know, I'm not sure if it's real or not, you know, when it comes to Brendan, is the same size. It's, sorry, obviously like 5 times the size of fucking this lady's one. Which you'd think it'd be a bit of an issue for women, because you know how women are when it comes to their wedding and their big day and shit, right? Or just the announcement in general. You'd think most women would have an issue with this, wouldn't you? Most likely, most women will fucking hate this sort of shit and think it's incredibly unbecoming, tacky, or whatever it may be. Maybe that's the case. I'm not really too sure. But I would fucking hold your horses on being critical of this lady and saying that she's being tacky, because unfortunately for all of us, this woman's always been kind of tacky anyway. That's probably why they suit each other so well, her and Brendan, because they're kind of the same person. Because you remember this picture? Do you guys remember this picture? This post courtesy of the Fire Naked subreddit, which features Brendan Schaub's wife posting the, I guess, the soft announcement that they're going to have a baby girl. Look at what they posted as a way to kind of introduce this kid to the world, before obviously pictures were out there of the kid itself. A pink Hermes bag, a purple or say lavender Balenciaga bag, and a pink Fendi jumper. Can you imagine the way this is how you introduce your kid? And another one that shows a Celine bag. Sorry, it's not Celine, Chanel bag here on the side. So when you see this particular picture of her basically, you know, checking or dunking on her friend's fucking engagement ring when it's her special day, you'd think this sort of stuff should make it no surprise that the same person that would do this would announce their baby to the world like this, with a pink balloon. Like, what is this? What does these labels, these brands have to do with your fucking kid? Like, it's absolutely insane, the kind of levels of importance people like this put on, you know, money and shit. But again, she's being somewhat consistent with her brand. So let's actually check the comments. I want to see what these regular schmegular people are talking about when it comes to Brendan Schaub's wife and that very, you know, unpleasant or unnecessary or unfortunate picture. Let's see what the comments say. One comment: the bigger ring appears to have a paved set diamonds, which is diamond equivalent of a push-up bra, versus her friend's classic 3-color solitaire. Oh, really? Okay, people that know about rings are saying that Brendan Schaub's wife's ring looks big, looks fancy, but actually isn't that big or fancy, because, you know, her hat's been resting on certain bits, and obviously the friend's ring is way better, which is fucking hilarious, to be fair. So love to see that one. Another person says, this will destroy some of my friends groups I'm in. Another one says, I didn't get that this was real. It just looks like 2 friends celebrating both being engaged. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, it's true. Maybe they are looking too much into it, or we are looking too much into it. It's just like an innocent thing. It's not a big deal. Who knows? Another one says, they won't tell you this woman would rather have a wheel of cheese than a ring. The smaller one is classier and prettier, in my opinion. LMAO. Another one says, imagine trying to show your friend when your ring is ugly as fuck, to show up your friend, I'm assuming. Another one says, is that what she's doing, or is that what you're seeing? Fair. If they were friends before, this post that ends immediately after. It's nothing more than an ego stroking flex about who is bigger ring. Welcome to the club, buddy. Backhanded compliment meant to belittle. I didn't even clock that, to be fair. Welcome to the club, buddy could be a backhanded compliment. I didn't even clock that, sorry. Now it says, big, fake, flashy, perfect personality fit. Wearing a giant ring is a low status symbol anyway. So yeah, big up Brendan Schaub's wife. They both go viral on the timeline, different weeks, different story. Hers was probably way more avoidable than Brendan's, you know. Just, you know, take it easy on yourself. But hey, what do I know when it comes to this stuff? What do I bloody know? Absolutely nada. Nothing. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. Let's continue on with that one. Let's continue on with this one. Also, do you guys remember this period in time? Do you guys remember this period in time where allegedly Brendan Shaw's wife had a miscarriage, or not allegedly, she posted a picture of it online and shit, or getting the treatment of it for shit. And remember the very next day or the same night, I think, the diagnosis happened and shit. The same night, I think Brendan went away and decided to get into a hot tub with all his friends in comedy back then. Can you imagine? What type of family they must have, Well, your wife has a miscarriage and you feel perfectly fine to go away to do stand-up comedy, to sit in a fucking hot tub with Stevie Blue Eyes, Lil Brows and Chappelle Lacey. Can you imagine? That's like a nightmare blunt rotation right there. That is scare tactics, nightmare bro fucking, talk all day long. But yeah, look at that, man. Absolutely hilarious. Wife has a miscarriage. Me and the boys hanging out in the jacuzzi, having a whale of a time. I also love the fact that Brendan has his toes up, right? He has to always be a little bit different and shit. And he's wanting to show off his fucking bunions to any baddies I might be watching. I find that quite hilarious. Everyone's got their feet down, but he's the only one that's got his feet up, pointing towards the fucking camera and shit. Super, super funny. And also sitting in a hot tub wearing woolly hats is insane. It's very, very insane being able to do that. But hey, what do I know? What do I bloody know? Absolutely nada. Absolutely nada. And then we've got another one around that same time. This is a real throwback because you'll never see Brendan post another Black Man in his stories again. Do you remember this side of the story? When they used to go away and shit and they'll be booking hotel rooms or Airbnbs and chilling, having a good time. Look at this picture. Brendan Shaw's Instagram. It features Malik B doing his thing and obviously Brendan also doing thing as well, sitting on the bed, of course with his shoes on. Right? That's real white boy energy shit, right? To be sitting on the bed with your fucking sneakers on that you're wearing on the outside. That's some real white boy energy shit. But again, he's paying for the rooms, he's paying for the fucking meals, the drinks, maybe giving them a little bit extra for the gigs they do on stage. So, he calls the fucking shots. But it's hilarious. There was a time where Brendan was in the bed with the black man. I don't think you'll ever see that happening now these days, but there was a period in time where Brendan Shaw was in bed with a black man. That was a time in history. That definitely was a time in blood clot history. But hey, what can you do? Let's move on and talk about this. This is crazy. Again, these are all a couple of old ones here just to kind of row through. Somebody posted some Friday Night subreddit and I legitimately was dying laughing when I saw this the first time. Absolutely hilarious. This is the free fake Adam Sandler stories Bappa couldn't keep straight. So I'm glad somebody did this because he has got a couple of lies or maybe a few more lies that he just repeat ad nauseum. And usually lies, the more you repeat them, the more you forget because obviously they're not true. So I'd love to see if, it's possible to quickly listen and be able to say, oh yeah, shit, listen to a couple of stories, the same ones, so different, and be able to pick straight away when he's lying, when he's talking shit or not. So let's play the clip here. Courtesy of the Friday Night subreddit. I think this is hilarious.
Yeah, Adam Sandler. Yeah.
You got a good Adam Sandler impression?
No, not at all.
You can't do a little
no.
Nothing?
I did meet him.
He refuses to drive his own car at the garage when they're fixing it. Or no, he refuses to drive the car that one of the mechanics I might be working on in his car has, but similar to his. And he also refuses to do impressions. No. He's so scared. He refuses. No, not doing an impression.
Meet him,
what?
Yeah, I was at the movies with my kiddos and my girl, and I see him. It's rare.
By the way, beast of a dad with the kiddos and the girl. Beast of a dad, right? Beast of a dad.
For me to get
He's there at the movie theater.
Starstruck. Yeah. And I was like, oh.
It's rare for him to get starstruck. Right? Nice little humble brag there, just to kind of make him relatable. And I also love the fact that this guy here, who's the baseball guy, I think, right? They got into a bit of a weird tit for tat on there, and he ended up not liking Brendan. He was actually a fan of the Fire and the Kid, and then he met Brendan one time in real life, and he completely got turned off by him. The guy's attitude was stinky. He didn't want to talk and shit. Didn't want to do these, like, he hated him straight away, which is absolutely hilarious to be fair, considering how everything played out. But hey, what can you do? Let's go back to the clip. I want to hear it from the start again. One more time. I want to interrupt it.
Yeah, Adam Sandler. Yeah.
You got a good Adam Sandler impression?
No, not at all.
You can't do a little
no.
nothing?
I did meet him.
What?
Yeah, I was at the movies with my kiddos and my girl.
Movies.
And I see him. It's rare for me to get
He's
like
there at the movie theater?
starstruck.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. And my girl's like, well, I'm like, that's my North Star. That's Adam Sandler.
Wow. Imagine saying to your girl, who's also your wife and the mother of your 2 children, not your girl, by the way. Imagine saying to your girl, quote unquote, that's my North Star. What does that even mean? You should be embarrassed. Like, that's my North Star. Huh? What should I, what?
She's like, yeah, say something. Like, I'm not gonna say it.
I think a lot of women, actually, I'm not gonna lie, I think the same way that if a woman sees you getting beaten up, right, or getting your gun taken off you and then stripped and shit, she's never gonna look at you the same. I think it should be the same for guys too. I'm not gonna lie, I think it should be the same. I think if your girl sees you running towards a celebrity and trying to say hi, that should be like an instant ick. That should be a reason for her to leave. If she sees you running down the street like, Joe, Tom Segura, but like Jimmy, like screaming after these, like what? Like it's something that you can't ever look past. The fact that you know, someone like that, someone that you know also has it in them to, like, to go out of their way to say hi to Adam Sandler.
Because I was like, I'm not gonna say anything. It's gonna be weird. I don't know who I am. She's like, no, you at the Comedy Store. I'm sure he sees like you at the Improv. I'm like, I've never seen him there. I'm telling you, I've never seen him there. Yeah. And I go in the bathroom, and he's in the bathroom. I'm like, sure as fuck, I'm not gonna say anything. Like, while his dick's in his hand. Like,
hey, how's it hanging? Oh wow, shit.
Hey man, how's the movie?
Okay, these guys are laughing extra hard at this, like, non-joke here, isn't it? But hey, let's continue.
Oh yeah, this is awesome. And then we walk out the bathroom, and he's there, and he goes, "Hey," and he could tell I was looking at him, and I'm like telling my kids about him. And he goes, "Hey," and I walk over, I go, "What's up, Mr. Sandler?" He goes, "You're the tough guy that does comedy, right?" And I was like, "Holy fuck!"
He knew you.
You're the tough guy that does comedy. Can you even imagine those words coming out of like Adam Sandler's mouth in direction of Brendan Schaub? He'd have to be. The only way I could think this is believable is if Adam Sandler's like balls deep into like Joe Rogan and kept an eye on that and watched every episode. Like maybe that's possible, but I don't believe that to be true. So the fact that he's saying that and I love like the narcissist mind. Adam Sandler said hi to him, and then Adam Sandler is also the one that told him, "Oh yeah, I've heard about you. You're that badass who." Like, what? It's such an unbelievable lie. I love Brendan's lies. They don't make any sense. Like, why did Adam Sandler say? If anything, if you want to lie about this interaction, you could easily just kept everything in there and just said, "Yeah." So I find parts of the carriage, holding my son's hand as like a, as an icebreaker, and said hi. That's perfectly okay to do. And if your son calls you over, then of course you go over and then you use that as another moment to kind of say hi. But I don't think there's anything wrong at all. Come on, man. But hey, maybe I'm wrong.
I saw him at I watched all this stuff as a kid growing up. He was my hero. And then I was at a movie, and I forget what movie I was. Some kid movie. And he was there with his family, but I didn't recognize him at first. I'm like, that kind of looks like Adam. And then I went to the bathroom, and he's pissing next to me. I'm like, God damn, that looks.
Someone says on the comments, I'm not sure if this is true because I don't really keep an eye on Adam Sandler outside of what he does, right? But what's that? Kate Middleton told a what? Okay. Coiler's a fucking idiot. Kate Middleton told AZ, "You're a streamer that lags too much." That's a good one. Coiler's been on a good run lately. He's been on a good run. Or maybe he's upset that I said that is it the ape or whatever, or the chimp, whatever, in fucking Free Body Problem was named after him, innit? So maybe he's trying to get me back for that racial slur. But big up Coiler, man. What a legend.
I'm like, I don't be the.
Oh, sorry. I was about to say. Allegedly, Nick Swartzen is close friends with Adam Sandler. So the people on T4K Reddit are saying that she was just sitting there like, I don't believe you. because allegedly her and fucking are best friends. It's absolutely hilarious. But yeah, let's continue. So imagine Brendan sitting there telling one of Adam Sandler's good friends about an interaction that one of his good friend knows most likely didn't happen because he knows his friend. You know, he knows he's very private, doesn't like to hang out and shit. So the fact that he was willing to do what, like the burning, I don't know, whatever. Let's just continue.
Weirdo, man, and like say something. So I was waiting, and he came up to me. I was at the Comedy Store 2 nights before.
He came up to me, by the way.
He came up to me. He was like, "You're that funny guy that kicks ass." I didn't know what to say. It was the first I got nervous. I was like, "Me?" He's like, "What's up?"
He probably would wish that it would happen as a form of validation for his career, innit, and where he's got so far. Look at Nick Swarton's face, by the way, the entire time. Look at Nick Swarton's face. He's not smiling. Look, Brian is, of course. Brian is fucking Brendan Schaub's fucking cuck in chief. He's, of course, smiling. And Brendan's smiling, listening to his own story. Of course he is. Right? Look at that extra look. He doesn't have that bump anymore. I swear to God, it's gone because of Ozempic. He stopped doing Ozempic, and another good side effect is that all that, you know, all that estrogen or whatever he was putting in his face is now kind of completely melted away. Great to see. But Jesus Christos, bro. Crazy. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that little lump above his eyebrow. It's like an extra chromosome shit. And of course, Brian's like, picturing like sucking everyone off that loves Brendan. And Nick Swanson's not having it because allegedly he's Adam Sandler's friend. He's like, I don't actually know you, so why are you, you know? I fucking love it. I fucking love it. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect picture of that. Let's continue.
What's up, man? I was like, "Oh shit, Guru." I look over. I'm like, "God damn, that looks like Adam Sandler, my childhood hero." Like, God, that looks like Adam Sandler. Finished peeing. He walked.
Is childhood hero the same as being a North Star? A North Star. Is that the same thing or is that a different thing?
By. I'm like, I don't know, man. Wash my hands, come out, and he's there with his family. Like, motherfucker, that's Adam Sandler. And
At
then-
Beauty and Beast.
At Beauty and Beast with his kids. And I'm like, God dang. Out of all, there's maybe 3 people in this world I'd be nervous to meet. He'd be one of them. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. And then he looks over at me. I'm waiting for my girl. She's in the bathroom. I'm waiting for her. He walks over. He goes, "What's up, bro?" I'm like,
No way.
"What's up, man?" And then he says something to the effect, it was a little bit of a blur. Something like, you're the ass kicker that tells jokes, right?
You're the ass kicker that tells
Yeah,
jokes.
and I was like,
he knows who you are.
I was like,
look at Brian. Look how happy Brian is. Look how happy. Look at her. Look at Brian doing his obligationary, you know, jacking off of his fucking boss, who's obviously not his boss, more your partner, but you know, he kind of acts like he's subservient to him. I find that absolutely hilarious.
I think so. Oh God! And then I was my lips
so
were
happy.
quivering.
He's so
And I go,
happy.
You're my childhood hero, man. You're one of the reasons I started stand up. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, man.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God.
It's fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's just a weird lie to really talk about, isn't it? It's fucking odd. It's just a bizarre lie. It really is. Wanting to have these fake interactions with people is so bizarre to me. It really is. I don't know. But hey, what can you do? What can you do? What can you do? What else do we have here? What else do we have here? Why the fucking lion? Let's go to this one. Pick up everyone tuning in. I appreciate all of you in the stream chat for hanging in there with me. I know I had some technical difficulties. I know for those of you tuning in right now, you should see no camera, no screen. It's fucking black because my camera decided to, no, also my camera decided to give out. My computer did. So we're going to go cameraless. We're just going to go raw. We're going to do it right in people's do. And we're going to continue there and go forward. So if you enjoy the show, you like what you see, make sure you flip in, like the stream. That'd be well appreciated. That'd be well bloody appreciated. Anyway, on to the next clip. Which is titled, "I Respect SHAQ, the Man Ate Everything." So I guess that's Chuck Liddell, and sitting down, of course, with the one and only Tyler. Some nice symbol in there, some maybe area race there thing. I don't really know what's going on there, but some sort of symbolism, some sort of like ulterior motive behind the music. It is what it is. Maybe it's in part due to the free body problem. Who knows? But the tune itself was absolutely brilliant. Not gonna lie, I really did fucking enjoy it. I love that, all the seats were in a different way. I fucking loved it. But yeah, anyway, let's continue. So let's see them eat. By the way, do you see the screen grab in the beginning? Brennan isn't the only one that sticks his tongue out before he eats. Chuckadell also has that style of like sticking his tongue out and then almost using his tongue as a de facto utensil to get the food in his mouth. He can't just put it in with a fork or whatnot. He has to, you know, meet it in the middle and sort of like stick his tongue out in the hope that it kind of latches on like a bit of Velcro and it goes down his lovely esophagus. That's what I've heard anyway. Let's continue with the video.
All right, Chuck, let's dig in. Oh, you got this, man. You got the lobster. I know, you're not messing around, man. I trained with that guy at Black House MMA. It was me, him, and Lyoto Machida. Yeah, that's the other thing on you. Like, people, again, because you're, you know, the sprawl and brawl.
Even these clips, right? I know these clips are like obviously clipped up and there's not a lot of context to them, but even these clips, like, he talks so much. That's the one thing that was really a big letdown for FOODTRUCK Diaries, because I think the concept of it was fairly sound about taking the fighters away from like stuffy, you know, traditional environments and maybe having them sit in front of you, you know, different, in a different way, in a different context. That makes a lot more sense. But I would have thought it would have made loads more sense to do them in like AKA pop-up shops, you know, as opposed to like just having it on, you know, any other streaming platform and shit. That would actually make the experience a lot more interesting, you would say. But hey, what do I know when it comes to this stuff? What do I know?
And us, you knock dudes out, and, you know, top 5 most famous fighters of all time, probably the most recognizable fighter of all time. Lobster looks pretty legit. Usually seafood from trucks I don't trust, but this looks pretty legit. Were you watching? Oh, man, I bet I could have took them. Like, you look at the fight card this weekend, like the Dagestanian names, it's like, good luck pronouncing them.
Yeah.
I try to stay low carb, but during the food truck, how you doing, man? Well, let me feed.
I love how the food truck driver knows who he is instantly. How many times have you ordered, bro? Fucking hell.
Feed you, man, because this is a food truck.
Oh, that sounds great.
Diet-wise, are you?
I eat everything.
Anyway, let's not play that copyright music. Let's continue on. But yeah, big up Papa. Big up fucking Papa. Big up fucking Papa. Let's continue on.
I started with...
let's not play that one. So we did this, we did that. Let's also do some newer videos. So let's play one of them, which is going to be a 2 Days to Try. Has got a new video out regarding Tom Segura finally addressing the airport meltdown. Let's see what that's about, because I haven't actually checked this out yet. So big up my guy, 2 Days to Try. I do appreciate him. And I appreciate all of you guys that are hanging in there with me now, despite me not actually being on on screen, because my computer's had to give way. So it kind of is what it is. So let's continue here. Bear with me a second to get this video loaded up. And of course, if you're enjoying the show, make sure that you like the fucking stream. Get me, help a brother out. Make sure you like the stream. Big up Vicky Picture, appreciate you, bro.
Oh yeah, Agostinho, great streamer, never seen him.
Yeah, big up. Great stream, never seen him. Big up Ricky Picture. Great stream, never seen him is fucking hilarious. Thank you, Ricky Picture. Appreciate you. Great stream, never end them. Anyway, let's see what 2 Days to Try has to say about Tom Segura allegedly finally admitting or addressing, I guess, the whole about airport meltdown shit. Let's see what he actually has to say. Who's he gonna blame now? Like, where's the accountability on this one? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
All right, so last week, Tom Segura had on this TikToker that he's been talking about a lot recently during his podcast, who runs this coffee business, and she makes day in the life TikToks about it. But the majority of her comments are negative and people making fun of her. And she claims the first video she posted was just all negative comments. Like, it started right from the beginning. So Tom started talking about this on his podcast because the whole thing is pretty funny, like reading some of these comments. And she handles it well. Like, she's a good sport about it. And if she responds, it's with something positive, which...
Imagine if DSP could do this. Imagine if Darkside Phil was able to like respond with grace, respond with understanding, respond with some level of forgiveness for the amount of times, you know, people have ragged on someone. It's like, God damn it. But again, you know, that's DSP things.
As people know, Tom is like the opposite of that, and he's not very good at responding to criticism. But I think he probably realized he could learn from her. Like, I'm pretty sure Tom first started talking about her on the podcast not too long after his airport meltdown. And then when he had her on the podcast, he said the way she handles criticism and mean comments is inspiring. So hopefully she's teaching Tom to actually have some humility.
The people you engage with, you never go into like a you angle.
Right.
I always see you kind of go like almost like a positive spin on it, and it's actually very, you know, it's kind of inspiring. It's a nice thing to see.
Smarter way of doing things.
Yeah. I should...
Tom realizing that being a cunt sometimes isn't good for business, because sometimes people actually believe you're a cunt and they stop turning up to your shows, they stop buying your shit, stop being your things because you turn out to be an idiot. So you have to be very, very careful how you kind of, you know, push that narrative out there. You would assume.
Say that. It's much smarter.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I've never done that.
Nope. No, you don't.
I mean, your way's probably more fun, to be honest.
No.
I tend to.
And then they go into how Tom's not very good at handling that stuff. So at least he has some self-awareness here. You know, I think he realizes the way he handles negative comments only makes things worse.
Exactly.
But he actually does talk about the whole airport thing during this. And of course he does try to play it off like, oh, I wasn't really mad. You know, I was sitting in first class drinking a Diet Coke. How could I be mad? That's the way he explains it. So I guess it's all just a big misunderstanding.
People don't realize how happy I was during the airport tweets, though.
See,
like,
that's the thing. You're always happy off screen.
They were like, tantrum. I'm like, tantrum? I was sitting in a first class seat sipping a Diet Coke, just going like, la, 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 you know? Like, there was...
You can't pretend that you're unbothered and then also be checking your... Like, what? How does that work?
Oh, like
sounds
assault.
like you were living your best life.
I was having a
to
good
be
time.
honest.
Yeah, but
everyone's worried about you.
Everybody else was like, "Are you okay? Are you in jail?"
And what's hilarious about this is Christina said during all that, a bunch of Tom's friends were calling her to make sure Tom's all right. You know,
Jesus
to check in on
Christ.
him because they thought he just went off the rails or something. And even their producer mentions that their mom called them during that and was like, "Man, is everything going all right at work? Tom seems really mad recently."
Tom and I
They know.
Like, Tom and I are not bright when it comes to confrontation.
I don't go,
put it
what's
that
the
way.
smart way out of this?
No, neither do I.
Just full force right in there. How much trouble can I cause?
Yeah, I just go, yeah. How much trauma can I create with this moment?
Yeah, and then it goes on for days. And it's just a whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. People call me. Everything all right? You know,
Yeah. Friends reach out.
You doing okay,
Is
man?
Tom, no, they reach out to me. Like, is Tom doing well? I saw this thing. And I'm like, I don't know. He's fine. He's enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah.
So.
My mom called me one time.
Really?
Yeah, she was like, "Is everything okay at the studio? Because he seems like angry."
Yeah, we're not going about to hear the producers talking on the mic. No, thank you. But anyways, big up to you to try. I appreciate your video. Appreciate your insights. Appreciate you clipping this and doing it the way you do. Keep on striving. Keep on blood clot striving. Next, let's watch this clip. This is a really good one. This is featuring Podcast Cringe regarding BERT KREISCHER sitting down with SHAQ on a pod. Pretty much one of the worst combos ever. Because I think SHAQ, although his stature in the game is huge and he's won many accolades, he's quite humble off the stage, you know? Persona is obviously turned on to 10 when he gets on full court press, but when he's, you know, chilling, everything's completely different. So let's watch this clip. I think this is really good. And let's continue on. Let's continue on here. Bear with me a second as I get it all loaded so you can see what I'll go on, because I think this is a really good one. Big up to try. Too lazy to try, not too shy. Let's continue on. Let's see what he says.
All right, so last week, Tom Segura had on this TikToker that he's been talking about a lot recently during his podcast, who runs this coffee business.
Is it the
and
same
she
one?
makes
Oh,
day
no.
in the
It's the wrong one. Whoopsie. Wrong video. My bad. Wrong video. Wrong video. Bear with me 1 second as I get the right one up. I uploaded the same one twice for some reason, and I didn't change the screen because I'm not on camera, so I'm not conscious of changing the screen all the time. What an absolute beautiful day to be alive. What a beautiful day to be alive. Let's get that right video I want to see here. Where is it? There we go. That's it. When SHAQ met BERT KREISCHER. Courtesy of Podcast Cringe. Big Up Podcast Cringe. Let's go into the full screen. Scene 2. Let's fucking go.
You know how easy it would be for me, 20-year-old? I can impress her so much.
That opening line should be concerning to most people. The fact that Bert is thinking about how easy it would be to fuck a 20-year-old. The fact that Bert is maybe secretly thinking about fucking a 20-year-old, and the fact that a 21-year-old or 20-year-old, sorry, would probably fuck him. That's the scary thing about it. Would probably ease, right? They'd probably be into it, to be fair. That's pretty wild. That is pretty wild.
Like, I could just take her, put her on a private jet. She'd be like, whoa. And then I'd be like, yeah, this is what we do.
Do you believe in the term internet comedian versus comedian?
Oh, no.
So, internet comedian Bert Kreischer appeared on the latest episode of SHAQ's podcast, and man, was this a cringe fest. Bert proved yet again just how one-dimensional he really is, hitting the same talking points and telling the same stories that he always does. Except luckily for him, SHAQ didn't quite know who exactly Bert was at first.
I love that part of it, of the story, because I think in Bert's head, he thinks he's obvious. No, I don't think that. It's obviously evident that Bert thinks he's way more famous than what he is. But he almost probably in his own head thinks he's like Joe Rogan famous just because he's on Joe Rogan a lot. That's what I'm trying to think. I think Bert almost starts to think that because he posts loads of little skits and videos of, you know, for him promoting and marketing his show, he must think everyone watches them, and he also must think everyone must know who he is because of Rogan, which is absolutely insane to think that your friend's fame will rub off on you to that extent. Maybe rub off on you in some way, maybe especially underground shows because there's mostly loads of stands there. Maybe the stand will know who you are because they've seen you online and shit with Nikki or whatever. I get it, but Bert is fucking delusional. That's what I have to say about that. Bert is delusional.
I know your face, of course. I know who you are. Never knew your name was Bert.
For real?
Yeah, I never knew.
He was offended. For real? I know your face. Yeah, right. He doesn't know his face either. I know your name is Bert. Bert. He's also got one of the worst names ever, isn't it? That fucking Bert name is fucking... It kind of describes him very perfectly, though. Right? It suits him perfectly, but it's also a shitty name.
Because I came down and I was like, bro, who the f*** is Bert Kreischer? And then when you walked through the door, I was like, oh, him?
So let's just get this straight. SHAQ's team booked Bert.
People going on podcasts where the guest doesn't know who you are is fucking hilarious. Don't you think that's funny? There's now a trend of people going on other people's shows and they don't know who the person is that's coming on their show. I guess in some respects, if you can do it properly and legit, there probably could be a business in there where, like, you know, I don't know, you know, maybe there could be something there, but I find that fucking hilarious.
And it wasn't until he actually turned up that SHAQ realized he recognized Bert from the internet. That pretty much sums up Bert's entire career.
Like I said, I know who you are. Like I've seen all your job, but I just never knew your name because I'm always like this.
Yeah, showing up on SHAQ's Instagram feed has to be a career highlight for Bert. But luckily, SHAQ's co-host did some actual research and knew about all the different things Bert has done so far. And this was classic Bert. Get this right. So Adam was listing Bert's accomplishments, the different ventures and productions he's been involved in, and he was trying to open up the conversation to Bert, probably so those viewers that don't really know who he is could get up to speed and follow the conversation. And instead of talking about the list of things Adam had brought up, Bert decided to talk about his funeral instead.
I'm sure the Van Wilder thing is annoying to talk about because I feel like you've lived so many different lives at this point. And I've witnessed you go through all of these stages. So you had the one where it's...
By the way, this guy sounds like a super fan. He sounds like he's plugged in. He sounds like he probably knows a bit about the Papaverse, the GRE verse. He's really almost, you know, quite locked in and quite clocked into what's going on. So the fact that Bert doesn't use this opportunity to maybe geek out and talk more in depth about his career and instead just, you know, lampoons the conversation is absolutely hilarious.
Like now we're on like Discovery Channel or Travel Channel or something like that. And we're doing a show, and then we have a podcast launching with Segura, and then it's like you got the Machine on Netflix, which had to be like a full circle. Like, how many lives do you think you've lived at this point?
Oh, I think about my funeral a lot. Like I think about Like just someone who's like a casual, like dating one of my friends.
He wants to be remembered forever, and that's the problem with Bert. He wants to like go down in history as like one of the greats, but his comedy is fucking hacky as shit, you know. And obviously he's a bit of an alcoholic, which probably turns people off as well.
You know, and then he shows up and she's like, "Yeah, I knew this guy." And then they tell my life story, and they're like, "Holy shit." Like I'd travel when I worked at Travel Channel. I traveled around the world 4 times.
So Bert's clearly suffering from imposter syndrome, just without the syndrome part, and we've heard him talk about his funeral and how people remember him at least a dozen times over the years. For one reason or another, Bert has this fixation on people missing him. Remember when he started crying because he was worried nobody would miss him?
"You're not as fat as the internet says." And I was like, huh? He's like, "Oh, there's a Reddit thread about like an over-under on when you die." And by the way, that death thing is very real.
To be fair, I also wasn't a fan of people speculating on when he was going to die, but I also have to be honest and say, this guy is not real, in it, because I think even Podcast Chris mentioned in this video, anybody else that would have done what, you know, that guy did would have probably faced the consequences of the law. You can't just go around murdering people, you know what I mean? But hey, what do I know? What do I know?
Emotional thinking about this. Maybe just a couple times if people, when I'm gone.
Look at this guy.
People just go like,
he's so fucking bizarre.
"Man, it would be so much cooler if Bert was here. Like, God, we'd have so much fun." Like,
it's like, what? Imagine how narcissistic you have to be to that to be a thinking. I just wish people would like, wait, like what? Excuse me? Absolutely wow. Let's continue.
Wouldn't it be great if Bert was here and he just walked in with a bottle of champagne and a crazy story, or like I just like.
He's still crying. God almighty.
Bro's got some serious issues he's dealing with, and it all seems to come out when he stops drinking. But for someone who is so desperate for fame and recognition, when he was asked about his 2 daughters and the rules he gives them for dating, he came back with the most BS answer ever. Seriously, this guy cannot go 5 minutes without contradicting himself.
And how old are your daughters?
I don't know. No, 19 and 17.
Oh, 19.
Oh,
Okay,
they're grown-ups,
so what's your policy on dating?
Oh, 0. I have no policy. I'm powerless. They do whatever they want. I just want them to be happy. Like I don't want them to I don't want them to bring home like a fan.
Oh, interesting.
Like, yeah, and I think they're pretty not in that area. Yeah. So, but like you forget how precious anonymity is. Like I'm sure you have it with your kids. Being someone's child, especially if you're like known as.
I love how Bert's only realizing this now, after all the years that he's kind of subjected his family to his constant skits and memes and reels, whatever. He's now only realizing right now that maybe he just did too much. He maybe overutilizes them. It's like, bro, you give women for workout and shit. What do you expect they're gonna do? You know what I mean? Absolutely nutty guy.
Partying. When Georgia went to college, like dudes were knocking on her door every day, like, "I want to party with the machine." Georgia was like, "That's not who I am. I read books."
I'm not sure I agree with that either. She was laying in bed and I don't get this.
I've never read a book in my life.
But we all know that story never happened. Nobody was knocking on your daughter's door in college saying they want to party with the machine. Seriously, Bert Kreischer is the most famous guy nobody's ever heard of.
What's up, brother?
Are you a YouTuber?
No.
This is not a fair scene, by the way. Podcast Cringe is being mean. This is not fair. He bumps into a kid that's like, I don't know, under 13. And he didn't expect him to know who he was, but this is funny though. It's a good narrative to run with because it looks like what, you know, is being reported.
No, I'm just a comedian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, can you tell us a joke?
Tell us a joke.
Yeah, when I was 22 years old, I got involved with the Russian mafia.
Yo, big up NJ Ranger, appreciate you.
Repeating his bit where he makes himself cry at his own maudlin, self-aggrandizing funeral hypothetical. Now this is podcasting.
Exactly. Yeah, the crying on cue whenever he mentions like dying or going to a funeral is fucking insane talk, but you know, this is an insane old guy. What can we do?
How's that?
I don't really get it.
I'm trying to think of a child-friendly joke I have. I don't know. I don't got one for you.
Keep the back.
Take care, brother.
I just want to ask if you were on YouTube or anything. Cause...
No.
Oh, okay.
Just a comedian.
Right.
Sorry to let you down, brother. Have a good one.
Just a comedian. He walks off. I guess this is like a metaphor for his career, innit? Or maybe a metaphor for his fan base. They will come flocking in and it will just disappear because they burrow holes underneath the tracks and run away that way. Then burst on, hit like a drain with some trees in it. You're like, what?
See, Bert, no need to wish for anonymity, you've already got it. But that doesn't stop Bert from dishing out advice. Now, this was brilliant. So as part of SHAQ's podcast, they have this segment where they read out a question from a viewer for the guest to answer. Okay. And Bert's question was actually really good because it came from the fiancé of an aspiring comedian who was having relationship problems due to her partner's career choice as a comedian. So naturally, she thought she'd write in and ask the second best-selling comedian on the planet for advice.
Shannon E. from Chicago asks, Dr. O'Neill and Dr. KREISCHER, my fiance gets mad at me because I want him to get a job. He wants to be a comedian and actor, and he thinks that a job would get in the way of his dream. I'm trying to be supportive, but we have a baby. And he's not making enough from his talent to help me pay the bills and take care of our child. Am I wrong here?
Let's be honest. That scenario, the woman isn't wrong for expecting more out of the boyfriend. Let's be real. Do you know what I mean? Let's be real. Let's be real. I don't think any man, even if you're, staying at someone's house, you shouldn't be just laying in the fucking bed all day. Do you know what I mean? That's not how it should go. But hey, what do I know?
I think get out of his way and let him follow his dream. I was that guy. I remember I was making $700 a week on the road when Georgia was born. I don't know why Leanne stuck with me. I don't know what she saw because I didn't see it. We was $700. I had to pay
because you're making money, even though it wasn't a lot back then. You're still making some money, and if you just kept at it and get all the adoration get to your head, you were going to be the next, big guy out there. It's pretty obvious why Leanne would stay with someone like this.
My flight and the hotel. Leanne was working a job where she paid, or we had free rent because she worked in the building. And I just was like, and then when I started making money, I go, did you ever think this would happen? She was like, yeah, I believed in you. And you got to have that ride or die who's like, that's my guy. I believe in him.
That's horrible advice though for regular people though, isn't it? Because he's one of the 1% of the 1%ers. So why would the regular person who has a regular boyfriend as a job be comfortable as with me coming into the house and wearing dress boots? I love the fact that no one also laughed in the crowd. That was also impressive. I think there's a video of it.
And I am so grateful. I was a penny stock that multiplied for her. And so like I would always say, if you don't follow your dreams, you're not living your life right. And your dream doesn't have to be a comedy star. I have so many friends that make great money doing comedy and they love what they do. Not everyone gets some awesome opportunities, but you can just make great money. Like great money. Like you can make $1 million a year being a comedian. That's great money. Incredible. That's great money. If you told me when I got into comedy that that I'd be launching a vodka and that I'd have podcasts and movies and things change, and so let someone follow their dream and let them be happy. You don't need, look, my favorite house I have is our first one we bought. 1,900 square feet.
Humble flexes
big
wild
for us when we moved in. Every other house I have, I look back at that house, I go, that house had so much love in it. And you go like that, you don't need millions and millions of dollars to be happy. You just got to wake up every morning and be inspired for what you do and
just be inspired, just get motivated, right? Just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's easy. Just take a small loan from your father for $1 million and just invest that into your dreams. All you need is a very, very small loan. It's like a small loan. Do you know how hard it is even to get a tiny loan out here for some people? Let alone a small loan, let them get approved. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? It does not work like that, unfortunately. But yeah, what can you do? What can you do? Let's continue.
You should inspire your wife to do whatever she wants, and she should reciprocate, I think.
There's nothing better than listening to a multimillionaire whose father owned a law firm preaching to us how money won't make you happy. This is one of the biggest delusions that Bert's been peddling for years, and I've spoken about this several times before. If you take away all the money, Bert's just a bum. He wouldn't be able to get away with his lifestyle without the money because it allows him to live an antisocial life, right? Waking up late, drinking all night, not being around for his family. That's how relationships end in divorce. But for Rogan and his circle jerk of never been funny comedians, because they keep bringing in those checks every month from podcasting, they get a free pass. So Bert's the last person to be dishing out that kind of advice. I mean, he went from saying how you can make $1 million a year to saying that you don't need money to be happy. Perhaps the person who sent in that question would get better advice from Joe Rogan.
There's maybe 500 of us on the planet. You know, you got to be real generous and say 500 because it's really probably about 250.
Right.
But legit comics?
Okay, just watching that again gave me the funniest thought. Imagine Rogan going on Shaq's podcast. You'd literally have the tallest and shortest famous people in the world sitting in the same room. Now that would go viral. I can just picture it. Nah, never mind. Anyway, it didn't take long for Bert to bring up his sugar daddy, Tom Segura, except I've been noticing more and more that Bert's becoming concerned about Tom. So this is actually really funny. Check out this clip and I'll give you the background straight after.
Because right when Tommy and I started doing our podcast, Shaq and Chuck were really blossoming on TV. Like it was the hot chip challenge.
Oh, almost died.
So man only goes to a podcast when the podcast host is like popping or got some motion. Apart from that, no thank you. Fair, I guess. Bit of a cunt, but fair.
Made me laugh so hard that I was like, I go, Tommy, we got to start being more like Shaq and Chuck. He's like, which one are you? I go, I think I'm both of them.
Yeah, which one would you say you are?
I'm definitely Shaq.
You're Shaq.
I got big confidence.
And then Segura is the Kobe mentality.
Yeah. So yeah, Segura's dead inside. He's changed. He introduced me to 2 billionaires the other day. I was like, who are you hanging out with?
Okay, so if you don't know, Tom Segura has been copping a massive backlash over the last couple of years after he was attacked by the wooden flooring in a gym and decided to lose weight and get healthy. But even though Tom ended up looking like a fit 65-year-old at the age of 44, he became super arrogant and started to clap back at his fans for complaining about how he constantly talks about money, his car collection, his watch collection, and his love of helicopters and planes and fine dining experiences. You know, all that fancy stuff that rich people do. I mean, he's supposed to be...
Same issue. I swear to God he has.
Like we just saw him do with Shaq. Remember the last time he was on JRE with Tom and Ari?
I look up to you because it's the coolest thing about you is that you really don't give a f.
That is nice.
It's so cool to not give a f. When you give a f, it's a little sad sometimes. You know?
I think I give a f about certain
you
things.
Don't give a
Right, but what you don't give a f
Tom,
about,
I really
you've
read
read
your comments. You do not give a f.
You have the perfect amount of
Yeah.
I think it's like a balance.
Are these guys high? What kind of conversation is this? I'm in awe of how much you don't give a fuck. Like what?
No.
It's the right balance.
No, it's detrimental.
To what?
To him.
How so?
Why? If I read his comments, I'd be like, start giving a f.
Yeah, but who's writing those comments? You can't read comments.
I do.
So you can tell that Bert's starting to get worried about the backlash against Tom. Even he's noticing how much Tom's changed and how it's affecting his public image. I've covered this extensively on this channel.
Yeah, that must be a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Because when they got together, Bert and Tom, Bert was always the one that got most of the hate. But I think Bert enjoys the attention he gets from the hate, personally. He's a bit fucked up in that way. But now I think most likely, I'm not sure if this is correct, but I'm going to say this out loud. I think people are kind of getting tired of Bert. So they're not really that bothered about insulting him as much as probably did in the past because he just, he is what he is, isn't it? So I guess maybe there's a bit of a fatigue when it comes to Bert. But in Tom, people have wanted to crack him for a while because of how rude he is in general, standoffish, the fact that he, the arguments he has online, on Twitter and shit. People have always wanted to kind of, put him on notice, as, the gays would say. And only he could get served, on the plane. But yeah, big up Tom.
So I'm not going to go over all the separate incidents, but it's safe to say that if Bert's getting worried about the backlash against Tom, yeah, it's serious. However, having said that, it's no secret that Bert loves a good FaceTime call, especially when he's live on air. So when the opportunity came up to call Tom, he didn't hesitate, even though Shaq has no idea who Tom Segura is.
I feel like you're both similar in that, like, you could be around really powerful, wealthy people, but you get...
So Bert thought Shaq knew him before he went on the pod, or knew who he was. He didn't. And now Bert's also assuming that Shaq knows who Tom Segura is, because in Bert's head, Tom Segura is well more successful than him, and Bert kind of wants what Tom Segura has, but then he doesn't know any of them. I think that's fucking hilarious.
Be yourself completely 100%, and then they're like, I love this, and everyone else is trying to like be more adult, and you're like, that.
Why do all these LA podcasts with celebrities have that sidekick that's just like super fucking heavy-handed with the compliments and shit, and tries to act like your friend? Do you know what I mean? I feel like every kind of like celebrity guest co-host based pod is like that, but I don't think the balance is good. It's probably good to have somebody that's a little bit spicier to kind of like bounce off of, as opposed to someone just, you know, parroting what you fucking say. But hey, what do I know?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm broken. Like I don't like. There's just parts
Good
of
broken.
me. Well, yeah, good broken, but I don't realize I'm broken. Like I shower in the pool.
You shower in the pool too?
Imagine showering in the fucking swimming pool as a flex. I guess it's kind of worse as a flex because it's a weird humble flex, but it's also incredibly gross, to be honest. But you know, what? Can you imagine how long it fucking took for that pool to get clean the first time? Like, I mean, it's absolutely insane. But anyway, let's continue.
Soap or no soap?
I'll take soap into the pool.
You do?
Do you know how nasty that is to take bath soap into a swimming pool so you can do a shower in the corner? God damn it, bro.
Yes, all the time.
Can you guys explain pool showering?
Hold on. I'm calling Tommy right now. He has been so up about this.
No, because when I work out, my gym is in back. The pool is cold, so it's like a cold plunge. So I jump in, but I don't want to get out and then take a shower. So I'll just get some soap and just take a shower.
Calling Tommy. He's made fun of me for pool showers my whole life.
Really?
I was like, dude,
Is that probably the right way to go about doing things, by the way?
best.
Yeah,
Ice cold pool.
Yeah.
Get in there, wake up. I got rituals. I swim from one side under the water and back to do my breath holds. Started in COVID.
Okay. Joe from MIA says, AZ, that's Adam Lefkoe. I don't know how you pronounce his name. Lefkoe. Apologies for the lack of pronunciation there. Him and Shaq are both on the same TV show Inside the NBA on TNT. Okay, cool. Oh, that's a show where he sits with them Chuck and shit. Is he on there? Is he on there? I don't remember seeing him. So he's on that same show that Chuck. They sit on and they all kind of bust each other's ass. Oof. They bust each other's balls about sports and shit. I didn't know he was on that show. Okay, fair play. Or maybe another show. Who knows? Either way, big up Joel from MIA. Appreciate you.
And so, of course, he doesn't answer. I don't trust people who don't answer FaceTimes.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave him a message.
Oh, it's a FaceTime. I'll just send him.
I'm gonna leave him a message.
But he
There's
don't
no
have FaceTime
messaging.
Exactly, Warren Kenner. If someone brings soap to a pool, I'm assuming they're not bright. Imagine seeing someone rock up. Imagine you're on holiday. Imagine you're on holiday somewhere and you're staying in the fucking villa, right? And you're sitting by the pool, communal pool, and someone rocks up with a towel and a bottle of shower gel, and they jump into the swimming pool and just start. Can you imagine? Just start like showering to get the loofah out, scrub. Like, can you imagine the sight that would be? Like, what the fuck is this person doing? Like, just ruining the fun for everybody, as per usual. These people
Know how to leave a message. I know how to give me your phone, Bert. I know what I'm doing. Jeez.
This is what Bert wanted, by the way.
Camera's right there.
I think that's why the FaceTime thing exists. This is what Bert wants. He wants a celebrity to go, grab his. I mean, this is what they live for. They live They live for this type of shit.
Yep.
You too.
Picture my.
Who am I talking to?
Dude, looks good today.
Who's this?
Tom Segura.
Tom Segura.
Hey, Tom, this is Bert's twin brother. I take pool showers too, so leave him alone. I'm going to kill you.
By the way, what Shaq described wasn't a pool shower. He almost described like he basically described using his pool as a de facto, ice bath. I believe Bert when he says he probably takes his soap to the shower because most likely that's the only time he actually jumps in the shower. And it wouldn't surprise me if Leanne uses that as an excuse to give him the shower gel because he's too stinky every day. I imagine that's probably the use. She sees him already in the pool. She's like, you know what? You're not getting back out of that. You're not getting out of that pool unless you put some of this stuff under your arm. You know what I mean? And it's not fucking deodorant. It's fucking soap. So I think that's what probably happens. But yeah, I can't imagine going to a fucking communal swimming pool and deciding just to kind of jump in and shower. It's absolutely nuts. I'm sure people do worse things in swimming pools, but you know, showering in there is pretty nasty.
Okay, here's the thing. I probably should have told you this already if you didn't know much about Tom Segura. See, Tom's a complete psychopath. He's not scared of SHAQ. Do you have any idea how many bodies this guy has in his freezer? He makes Sheldon Johnson look like an amateur. So it should come as no surprise that Tom responded immediately to SHAQ's message with this.
Here's the thing. If you're still mad about this, just know that it's your mindset. And you're thinking like a loser. But you don't have to.
You don't.
You can change the way you think. But you have to accept the way you're thinking right now is not going to get you anywhere. You're being bitter, you're being petty, you're insecure, you're not confident. And you can change that, but you have to be proactive. I'm lucky to have you as a loser fan, but you don't have to be that way. You could be a winner. You know, you just got to change the way you think.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm actually worried about SHAQ now. He needs to up his security detail or something because when Tommy Buns gets into these moods, they can last for days or even weeks. Just ask American Airlines or Delta or Southwest. Anyway, hopefully SHAQ gets this message and puts out a public apology or something like that because we all love the big guy and we want to see him live a long and happy life in one piece. Shout out to Josh Dubin if you're listening. Hope you're okay and sleeping well at night.
Anyway, that's Podcast Cringe. Big up him. Great video. We always appreciate Podcast Cringe analysis on those type of things. We don't appreciate Bert's insistence on trying to be famous and get clout from all these fucking dumb situations. We really don't. But we do appreciate Podcast Cringe for taking the time out to put that lovely, 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 lovely video together. Appreciate him. We do appreciate that guy. In all intents and purposes, we actually really bloody do. I think that might be it for now, my friends. That might be where I have to pause it for now. It's been a bit of a mad one. It's been a bit crazy. You know, trying to get through this show with no fucking camera on the fucking screen. It's fucking annoying, but it is what it is. I'll make it work. For those of you who've tuned in and have liked it, thank you so much for hanging out. It's really amazing to see, you know, the support. So thank you for hanging out there. You know, it's been amazing to see the support and shit, despite my lack of being able to see a screen on the fucking camera and shit. It is what it is. But hey, what can we do? We kind of keep on trucking. We kind of keep on striving. We let it like fucking breathe. No, I'm definitely not topless. Come on, Super Jello, man. I'm not sitting here. I'm not academics. I'm not going to sit with my topless body on the fucking chair, you know, like I can't do that. I'm not that person. Whether it's on leather, whether it's a mesh, whether it's a whatever, I'm not gonna do that. 8 Ho Joy, 8 Yo Ho Joe, you are a fucking piece of shit for that. All right, that was incredibly rude, incredibly funny. Camera on and camera off. AZ looks the same as I see is black. All I see is, oh, this guy, man. You people are fucking horrible. I swear to God. Assad, let them titties swang. Nah. I'll do that, and this fucking camera will start flickering like I'm in a rave, bro. You know what I mean? The claps will sound like fucking bombs falling on Gaza, bro. It'll be fucking wild. But yeah. Big up everybody for joining. Appreciate all of you. It's been a pleasure, never a fucking chore. Thank you for hanging out. And obviously, like the stream. You don't have to because it's been a shit one. So if you don't want to like it and don't want to give me any positive, you know, whatever, I understand that too. But for now, thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure, never a chore. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Hopefully, everything will be back running where it should be. Hopefully. And then we can go from there. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. Episode, whatever it was of the random show. It took fucking ages to get done. But yeah, I appreciate you. Take care, people. Peace.